Hello and welcome to another episode of the Endless Celts Podcast. Today is Friday the 3rd of October and outside it's blowing a massive gale. And metaphorically, some people may actually say that there's a bit of a storm appearing at Parkhead as well. But to disperse with the theatrics, tonight we have got 4 in the house. So really pleased to see everyone tonight. And welcome to everybody in the comments. So get your thoughts coming in. More than welcome, but we've got McGinty, we have got James, and we have got Jed. So thanks everyone for joining. Jed, not seen you in a while. How are you, mate? It's been it's good to see you. It's good to see you, and you're looking well.
Yeah, I think it's about 6 weeks, 5-6 weeks I've been on. I've been on my hollybobs, which was great. Yeah, back down to earth with a bang with the football. So no doubt. I don't know what we're going to discuss tonight, guys. I'm a wee bit worried. I don't think we've got much to talk about.
Well, to be honest, obviously we'll talk about the Braga game and just how Celtic have been, and there's probably not a kind of a rigid schedule for tonight. I do have what we've not had for ages on this podcast, guys, is a quiz. I've actually got a quiz. And Jed, we've been doing a feature, or I've been pushing this feature. It's Build Your Perfect Celt. So I've managed to get the comments of McGinty and James and Anthony. So yourself, I'll ask your thoughts on that. To build your perfect Celt, I'll explain what the rules are. McGinty, come to yourself. Good to see you. Saw you last week. What's been happening in the world of McGinty?
Oh, no, a lot. This was my final week at my current job. I stopped today. It was an interesting day, mind you. Basically, didn't do any actual techie work. I just unloaded van, basically done the reversal of my first day of checking out, sort of thing. But the drive home was quite interesting. I think I was coming along the M9 around about 5:30, 6 o'clock, give or take, and the wind was certainly starting to pick up, with all the debris already scattered across the motorway and everything, which was quite interesting.
Would I be right in thinking that the storms that we get down here in the mainland are nothing to what you experience in the Shetlands?
You realise I'm not in Shetland right now, you can I?
Yeah, but
no. See, when we get big storms like we've got just now, and this one's not actually that big, but we had a big one last year. You usually get the high winds during January, February time on the mainland, and it's similar up in Shetland. It's just more prolonged. So we still get the big winds that we're getting just now. We still get that up in Shetland, and it's on a par. Sometimes a little bit more blowy, but it's just like when you go to Vietnam or Thailand, you've got the rainy season. It's the windy season up there, so it is, which is pretty much from November through to March.
Fair enough. And moving on from the weather, James, good to see you, mate. What's been happening?
Aye, all good, mate. I don't think I'm going to be able to give you as good a rundown as Sean Batty up there, but no, it's apart from the Fitbit, it's been all good.
Right, let's start with Celtic and Braga. Obviously, we get beat 2-0 at Parkhead. Jed, what can I get your thoughts? I know how negative these two bastards are to my right, so what can I get your thoughts? Look, there's a lot to get into, but I guess we'll just focus. Start off with Braga. You didn't make the game. Obviously, I think you had some problems in the motorway heading down, so you had 2 tickets for the game, couldn't make it. It wasn't a protest on your behalf. It was taken out of your hands, but you watched it in the house. Disappointing for me. Doesn't even sum it up. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was a great start when you pick your daughter up from Stirling from her work, and then you found out the motorway to Glasgow, there's been a van on fire, and there's over an hour and a half of your tailback.
Was what I passed. I was coming back up the motorway yesterday, and it was tailed all the way up to the Stirling service roundabout, but then the police had cut it off and made everybody go through Denny. Is that what that was?
So I was supposed to pick her up at 4:15. She didn't get her work to 5:20, so I thought we were going to be late anyway. And we didn't even, it took ages even to get up towards the service station, and I just called it a day and says, right, we'll just head home. So 70 quid out of pocket, and then to watch that shite last night just summed it up. But my take on the game, by the way, I thought we actually started not bad. the first 10 minutes, but then it's been a lot bit of a worry when you think of last week's game as well in Europe. Kasper Schmeichel's distribution has been nothing but shocking, and he was putting us under pressure straight away, and then the goal to concede. So I know the ball moves, but the blame lies at Schmeichel's door. And Joe Hart doing the co-commentary, he had the goalkeepers union, didn't want to call him out, but if that was a striker or a midfielder and a commentator and a co-commentator, they would have called him out right away. And then I don't know, we just seem to be so predictable all the time. But I just, guys, I don't know the answer at the moment. My head's in a spinning, thinking how are we going to do this? And then I know in the chat last night and even today, I made a comment last night after the game where if that goal should have stood, would we have went on and won the game? I honestly don't know. I really don't know. I just felt we went to the back three as well. We were leaving ourselves open down the wings, and they did put the ball through a couple of times. And it's painful now, guys, for every one of us. And we've all got different opinions, who's to blame, etc. But I think it's not just the board. I think it's the players. I think it's Brendan Rodgers as well.
Certainly everybody has to kind of take their own share of the blame. I think we'd all probably agree that the root cause of it is the board and the self-inflicted damage that's been done progressively. Now, James, the game itself, what really annoyed me was that after the goal, and obviously I want to hear your thoughts on the goal as well, who's to blame, but what really annoyed me was that we lost the goal. And their manager was really under the cosh going into that game. And there was a lot of pressure going on him. But whenever they got that goal, their confidence went up and they started playing how he would expect them to play, probably to near enough the best of their ability. I'm not intimately aware of how they play in the Portuguese league, but they looked as if they were playing full of confidence away in Europe. And that's how we should be playing. But just as soon as that goal went in, the momentum completely shifted. And it took a long time for us to get a foothold back in the game. And for me, that's quite unacceptable. I want to see, whenever that's kind of happening, I want people to put in challenges, provoke a reaction, make an impact in order to kind of stop their momentum, make fouls. There's so many kind of facets of the game on Thursday night that we could analyse. But what was your kind of your takeaway thoughts from it?
To be honest, it's just my kind of default position with a Celtic side since the Windies closed. I think we go into games and I don't think we've ever really been battered as such, just in terms of like performance. I don't mean scoreline. We seem to kind of have a lot of the ball, but we just don't create anything. I never feel as if we're really under the cosh and conceding loads of chances. Maybe at certain points in Belgrade, but we worked our way back into that. But last night, it was just kind of made of the same. We had a lot of the play, even in the first half, as you say, we started relatively well, but we just didn't really create anything. And I think in the first half, after the top of my head, I can remember Tenekte cutting inside and having a shot. And then the goal that they score, I think I could be wrong, but I think it's Paolo Bernardo that he just totally stands off the goal scorer, lets him come inside, and then basically gives him all the time in the world he wants to kind of pick his spot and get his shot away. But that being said, that Schmeichel has to keep it out. He goes with the wrong hand, but he also doesn't sort his feet out, and that kind of pretty much set the tone for Kasper Schmeichel for the remainder of the game anyway, because his distribution was really poor again as well. There was one in the second half where it was just a kind of straightforward ball back to him and he tries to kick it long and he just totally fluffs it and it nearly goes out for a corner if it didn't go out for a corner. But I just kind of made it the same, as I say, like, as we were saying earlier, like, you look at the Hibs game at the weekend and we had loads and loads of chances, but we couldn't score. we just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. And then you look at it last night, and obviously we did put the ball in the back of the net, but it was chopped off incorrectly. But we just didn't really create anything. And I'm no more going to come on to discuss the manager and everything surrounding it, but it's just it's boring, isn't it? It's just a kind of chore to watch us go through the motions in these games. Either no creating or no scoring. As I say, Hibs last week's probably one of our better performances, and we've drew it nothing each again. And that's 12 games, competitive games we've played. We've failed to score in 5 of them. So,
yeah,
that's. I know, as I say, I don't want to kind of step on toes for later on, but I think that's kind of a by-proxy of what happened in the summer. And that's why I said a couple of weeks ago, whenever I was last on, I'm in the camp of just focus in the league. Anything else that comes as a bonus, but I think we're in for a right hard slog right through until January. And even at that, that's trusting the current board and the recruitment team to actually do what's required in January, which I don't think you can hang your hat on either, to be fair.
Mm-hmm. Look, guys, get involved in this, okay? Because I don't want to kind of make this a structured chat about the game. Lots of talking points. McGinty, we've got the goals, we've got the performance of Bernardo, who couldn't buy a start for at all this season. He gets in. I don't know if it was just because it was Portuguese opposition. Bernardo had a somewhat underwhelming performance. I don't know if you can learn more from a player's performance in defeat or in victory. Probably even harder whenever his teammates aren't really firing on all cylinders as well. But either way, it was a chance for Bernardo to shine. He didn't. We've got the passing for Casper, the goal that he conceded, the first one, which was 35 yards away. We've got a bright spark about Landon Donovan, who I'm championing, but he kind of came off at half time. We rung the changes second half. There was an impact. We had far more possession, but again, we failed to put the ball officially in the net. What did you take from the game? What kind of struck you? Obviously, the injustice of the goal that we scored and that was ruled out for handball. Talk to me.
I'm not going to lie to you, Gavin. I thought you already knew. I didn't get to see the game. I was too busy driving. I caught the kind of second half of the second half sort of thing. And the part that I caught was actually when we started to actually look like we were playing quite well, making a bit more inroads in the kind of last stages until you get that second goal against you, which is just typical for me, Celtic / Scottish hard luck, too little, too late sort of thing. Open yourself up trying to chase the equaliser when we should have been playing that kind of football along a lot sooner than we did. So it opens you up and you can see the second goal late on. Overall, I'll kind of try and sum up probably where we're at as supporting with the club is, I can see small improvements. You can see small improvements in the creative side, kind of with Taneki settling into place now with, I know he's not brilliant, but with Maeda now is looking like he's going to be on the right side, which is giving us some sort of sensible outlet on the right, because for the first few games of the season there was no right wing to us at all. So much of the play went down the left side, it was almost quite laughable to suggest that we even put a right winger on the pitch at times. But even with that said, we're just lacking overall. It's pretty mundane, it's pretty boring football that we're watching. And as much as we can look at, was it 9 shots, 10 shots we had yesterday, 16 odd shots I think it was, no, 20 odd, so 26 shots it was at the weekend, 16 on target, whatever nonsense it was. We are all seemingly creating these chances, but nobody's putting them away. And when you guys have already touched on it, and we've spoken about it for so many weeks and previous to this, but when you sell Kyogo in the January window and you sell Ademida, and I'm not his greatest fan, of course, in the summer window, and you don't actually replace them, is quite baffling. I mean, nobody's going to tell me that Shin Yamada is anything other than a punt and a project signing by the board. He's not wanted by the manager, quite clearly. Why we keep signing players for the manager when he doesn't want them and he doesn't fit his style is absolutely baffling me. But you lose Kyogo, you don't replace him. You lose Ademida and you don't replace him during the window. How do you lose 2 strikers knowing that a third one in Maeda actually wanted out the door and was halfway down the road, and you don't replace him to the point where we actually sign Iheanacho after the window, after he's been released on a free contract and after the window's closed? That's not planning. That's not building and sustaining or improving or going out of a window stronger than you came in it, whatever tidbit of information they want to try and feed you, sort of thing. We're no fixing any problems we already had previous to the window to after it, and it's shown in the games that we're playing just now. There's no creativity up front. There's nobody capable of scoring goals for us. I mean, that's in how many games is it without scoring? 5 or 6?
5 out of 12.
I think 4-0 draws. It's pretty fucking poor.
But guys, can I make a point as well? At the beginning of the season, and even before it's on air chat as well, I commented on, go back to the end of last season, right? We went up to Aberdeen, and was it the Wednesday night we won 5-0, was it? Mm-hmm. With what you would class as the second string team. Final game of the season was against St Mirren. That same team that played against St Mirren played in the final was absolutely shocking. The final was absolutely shocking. St Mirren, the first game of the season, late goal again. You mentioned about players that we've lost and not replaced. There's a bigger problem than out at the club. We've lost a player mentally who's still there, in Maeda. And don't get me started in McGregor, because you know my feelings and that. I hate coming across as being Mr. Negative all the time, but it is staring us in the face. This team needs massive overhaul. They're down. Everybody, it's only human nature. Everybody gets down at a certain time, but it all seems to be at the one time. We all love Maeda, but let's be honest, guys, but should have been the team now, because his head isn't there. But the problem is, we've got nobody to take his place. That's the problem. So we have to play him. The midfield, I was one that was crying out for Bernardo to play. Look, last night's performance was poor. Like I say, I just don't know what we can do to. I hope we go on and win in Sunday. A good score. The way it's going now, I would take 1-0. But I just feel as though we're at a very strange place at the moment. It's either going to go one way or another. We could go on a run, or we're going to stay this stagnant till January. And I personally don't think we can stay like this till January to get new players in, because but then you never know. Rangers could be caught up, but then Hearts could go on a run. Hearts could potentially be 5 points in front of us before we get into the game on Sunday. And we all think Hearts are going to fall away. We're hoping they're all going to fall away. But we're not making it easy on ourselves, because we are crap, and it is all stemmed from the board. Brendan Rodgers hasn't helped either, but the players need to step up here. They need to step up. Mm-hmm. We need to look about. But the guys had been slagged for 2 seasons now. Scales, he's been our best centre half. Carter Vickers isn't the player he was now. I don't know if he's carrying an injury. So we need to be looking about dropping the players who have been the mainstay. And that, Carter Vickers, McGregor, there's 2 straight away.
See, that's actually a kind of, sorry to jump in there, Gav, but that's a kind of conversation that we actually had on the way home on the bus last night. We were talking about the team we'd play on Sunday. And see, if you're looking at this side, if you take kind of names and the past out it, see if you just look at their own form and merit for this season, Scales is a stick on. Carter Vickers probably a stick on as well. Carter Vickers is a stick on as well. Out with that, you're looking at Tenecti, who has shown genuine promise, but he's also just in the door. But fair dues, he's been really good. And probably Iheanacho as well. And look, Iheanacho, I know he's getting a lot of praise, but he's also missed a fair few chances, and he's still in that stage of getting kind of back up to full speed and match sharpness. That's 4 players out of 11. The fullbacks, I know we're all talking about getting Kieran Tierney up to speed and all the rest of it, but I think I don't know if it was yourself, McGinty, was having a conversation with it. It's almost like the elephant in the room. We all want to see Tierney do well, but if we're being honest, I've not even really seen glimpses of the old Kieran Tierney. And I think on what we've seen this season, and granted, obviously, we're still early in the season, I think Sriracha deserves a go at left back over Tierney. I think the fact that we're having to reserve a substitution every game, regardless of circumstances, pretty much for the change at left back, and 9 times out of 10, we're going to try and win the game, so it doesn't really much sense to go like for like at the back. The right back spot, fair dues, Alistair Johnson's been injured. Colby Donovan's come in and played a couple of games. I thought he was pretty poor last night. Tony Ralston, I'm not a fan. The midfield, you could take names out of a hat. Personally, I'm not a Paulo Bernardo fan. I don't think it was any better or worse than anybody else that would have played that role in the squad yesterday. I'm fed up saying it on here. I feel as if I've said it since we all kind of linked up together about the midfield. They're all exactly the same.
Can I ask you particularly about Bernardo? Were you a fan of Bernardo in his loan spell at Celtic?
No, I always said, was it 2 years ago? It would have been, I think, around about that kind of, the game he scored at Parkhead against Rangers, and I think it was at Perth the week. It was either the week before or the week after. Was it
kind of Christmas time? Yeah.
Aye, he scored up there. He went in a wee run, a kind of 2 or 3 weeks, and that was kind of it. He was playing the Champions League games kind of out the blue. And I said at the time, it's not that I think he's a bad player. I think he's just across the board average. He's like so many, this season in particular. Let's see if you only started watching Celtic this season. If you look at that midfield, you could not point to a single player in there, and include Nygren in that. I know if we want to count him as a 10 or a winger, but you would include him in there. I don't know what any of their kind of main attribute is. I don't see a ball winner. I don't see a playmaker. I don't see MD kind of incisive cutting passes forward. I don't see MD cutting out passes on the other side of it. They're just all kind of average across the board. And look, Hatate shows it in glimpses as he always does, but he's been miles off it this season as well. I've kind of, I want to say I've stuck up for him, but I don't know if I have stuck up for him or if it's just that I've said it for so long. It's almost like kicking a puppy. The Callum McGregor thing, he's never a holding midfielder. He's no suited to that role. I keep hearing people saying that again. This isn't off the back of this season. You could buy it. I said it last season. People were saying that he's lost his legs. He's not as quick as he was. Callum McGregor was never quick. That was never Callum McGregor's game. He was always tidy, pass it after the side, have a shot for distance or whatever. He never relied on pace. Ronnie Dyer played him as a winger when he kind of broke into the team. But apart from that, he never relied on pace. And for me, he's just asked to play a role that he's absolutely no suited to. And I find it bizarre because Rodgers done it, Ange done it, Lennon done it, and Rodgers is doing it again. It's just so bizarre to me. And I just think you could go through literally every single midfielder. Engels, I stuck up for him last season. He's been absolutely hopeless this season. Bernardo, as I say, average across the board. Hatate miles off it. Nygren, I think the double against Livingston's doing some really, really heavy lifting for what's been a pretty poor to average start. Luke McKeown is probably, based off what we've seen, and that's coming on the last kind of 20 minutes, he's probably top of the pile. And I just don't see anything. It's just no inspiring.
But apart from that, James, we're okay.
Apart from that, we're sound.
I know. Listen, we're all, like I say, we're all feeling it. I hate coming across as being negative, but who has been a standout player for us this season? Probably the winger, the Tunisian boy we got.
So there's something that the way that James is talking, then the way that there's something that he said, it made me start to thinking, who would be your starting 11 based purely on form/deserving a position on this season alone, not the name of last season or 2 seasons ago, but just now. And I'm thinking Sinisalo would be your goalkeeper over Kasper Schmeichel. And I'm not meaning that to drop Kasper Schmeichel completely, but he's had a few hurlers. So he needs to be watched. But you'd have Sinisalo in, you'd have Donovan at right back, I would actually argue to put Murray at right
Yeah.
centre back over Carter Vickers because, as you say, James, Jed, you were saying he's kind of maybe carrying an injury, and I don't think he is a shoe on. Skills at left centre back, Srirachi 100% at left back.
Yeah.
Your left winger is going to be Tanecki. Your right winger, for me, purely on this season alone, you'd actually have Yang there, and that's not a compliment. And then you're looking at Ian Atcho up front, and then the midfield three.
That's going to get interesting.
Well, I can only pick, and I'm really clutching my own straws here. I'm looking at Hatate if we can play him further forward, because I think yesterday, when the bits that I saw of him playing further forward and trying to link up, kind of more like in the 10 position, linking up with the front line, he actually looked a lot better, and you could see the luxury passing that he can bring actually looked like it might open up, whereas when he's trying to do it so far back in the midfield, it's fucking useless. I would then look at probably Luke McCowan beside Hatate in the midfield, but see for the third position between McGregor, Nygren, Engels, Bernardo, I think I'd rather go without. They've been that fucking poor, and that's how. It's a compliment to some guys like Srirachi and Donovan that they've actually looked good and they actually are putting in effort, but it's also mad to think that I would have probably 5 or 6 of our backups in our starting 11 because the rest of them just are not at the races.
Well,
we'll probably have 3 changes, I would think, on Sunday.
But I was thinking about it because obviously the recruitment has been crap. We're bringing in players who maybe not necessarily are better than the players that we've got, certainly not better than the players who have left. And then we're looking at the contingent of players who've been holding it together for Celtic for the last 4 odd years, and you're asking them to continuously go back to the well. And at one point or another, well, maybe up until this season, they were the kind of the untouchables, where it was almost blasphemy to suggest that Cameron Carter-Vickers gets dropped, because practically the majority of Celtic fans, whenever you go into that conversation of who's the best Celtic defender that you've seen in the last 20 odd years, and they would take Cameron Carter-Vickers over Van Dijk, and they say, well, Van Dijk went on to become a world-class player, but Cameron Carter-Vickers in his prime at Celtic is untouchable. But right now, it looks like we'll have reached the stage where we're asking players like Cameron Carter-Vickers to just continuously do it week in, week out. And he's still in his 20s, Cameron Carter-Vickers. You know, I think he's still only about 28, 29. He should be in the prime of his career right now. Obviously, he has had a couple of injuries recently, but he's a senior player, and he's not the Vickers of old. Now, how long does it take before you say this isn't just a slump, this is a prolonged pattern of behaviour, and how does this guy turn it around? But you've got Cameron Carter-Vickers, you've got McGregor, the captain, 32-year-old too. You would like to think that, he packed it in with international duty, so he can only concentrate in Celtic now. You would like to think that he'd be capable of putting in proper quality performances, because he's got a solid reputation. See, whenever you hear people talk on like Super Scoreboard, the pundits on there, they are loath to criticise him because he's held in such high esteem. But it's us, the Celtic fans, on these types of media platforms who I think we're kind of calling as we see it. And the people who once were untouchable right now, they're looking like they're on a shaky peg. But James, talking about dropping Cameron Carter-Vickers, is that too far for Rodgers to do, or is he still kind of governed by reputations?
See, if I'm being honest, I think Cameron, he wasn't great last night, but I think this season he's been all right. I think if the season stopped tomorrow, your 3 contenders for your best player, in my opinion, would be Tanecki, Scales, and Carter-Vickers. I think defensively we're all right, and I include the fullback positions in that. As I say, I know Tierney hasn't performed to the levels that we've seen, but I don't think he's been a massive kind of burden on the team as such with the substitution that he takes up every week. But I don't think he's cost us like a goal or anything at all like that. I think defensively we're fine. It's middle to front where our issues lie. The point with McGregor, and like you say, like in terms of names, McGregor's been run into the ground for years. There's no need for McGregor to play as many games as he has played, and as I say, playing in a position that, in my opinion, isn't suited to him. and he husband poor. There's no getting away from it, and it was noticeable last night. And I know it's a kind of thing that people just say now about the pointing, but there was a point last night where it was like the full team were pointing, and I'm like, can we just get somebody to take the responsibility of actually getting the ball and playing the pass that you're seeing? And it's just not happening. Look, in terms of team selection, McGregor, if we're going on form this season, 100% McGregor should be dropped, but it won't be, because that captain's armband is almost like a shield at Celtic. It's always been that way. When you think back, like Scott Brown, like there were spells where he should have been rested, and he just wasn't, and McGregor even more so. But look, that being said, and if we changed it, it's just going to be made of the same. And we've seen these players, like I tipped Hatate. To be fair to Jed, you kind of disagreed with me, but I tipped Hatate for before the season started for Player of the Year. He's a million miles away for it. It looks almost as if he's ran his race at Celtic.
I said I would sell him.
It looks as if you were absolutely spot on. I just thought that being on a World Cup year that he would want to get there and really put on a show, and it just hasn't happened. But as I say, in terms of the McGregor thing, on form he deserves to be dropped, but and we will come on to speak about the manager, I assume, as well. But I just think if he puts anybody else in there, be it Engels, Bernardo, any of them, it's just going to serve up maybe the same, which I think we've seen. We have rotated at points, and it's just, there's no been a performance this season that you can point to and say, aye, that was really good, that was a canter, we done well there. It's not been that.
Falkirk in the League Cup.
Fair enough.
And we played, and look at the team we played out. That's the ball so much quicker, that game.
Can I just backtrack a little bit on my comments for Cameron Carter-Vickers? See, on reflection, I was kind of building up a bit of steam, and I totally agree that Cameron Carter-Vickers is not in his imperious form, is what he was.
It could be injury.
I agree with James that he's not cost us. I think he doesn't look as good as what he has been, but probably he's still good enough to justify his place in the team. So James, on reflection, you made a good point. So I'm going to kind of apologise to CCV if he is listening. Not been as good as he has been, but he's still good enough to be in the team. But again, it's just probably a symptom of players who have been good who are just not playing as well as what they have been. And people like McGregor, as you've said, Hatate, as you've said, and it's quite worrying. Obviously, Tierney, we've been speaking about the left back situation. Tierney on paper, you know, he's the left back every week, but he's just not the physical force is what he has been. And people are saying, give him more games. I think he got 90 minutes at Partick Thistle. Give him more games. He's building up his fitness, and then he'll hopefully be the reliable Tierney that we've known. People are saying, but he's not played regular football for the last 2 years. What do you expect? At the same time, there was a reason that he never played regular football for the last 2 years, because, you know, his physical conditioning hasn't been reliable. That he does kind of break down, and it's kind of symptomatic of where we are right now. He's not had a major injury, but will he be able to build up steam? Who knows? McGinty, how does Rodgers turn this around? We've spoken about if a new manager came in, would he be able to get a tune out of the same players? Who knows? Me personally, I don't think so. I would rather keep Rodgers until the end of the season. But what can we do? Is it a mentality thing? Is it a coaching thing? Sometimes whenever you're on a slump, or you're kind of playing within yourself, I've heard players talk about it. It's really, really difficult to arrest that and to pick yourself back up again. But we need to galvanise ourselves one way or another. Is it the shape? Is it the players? The system? What can we do to get us playing back to the maximum potential?
I don't know, Gavin, is the real and honest answer. I said in the group chat earlier on, I've said it on here before as well. You don't hire a guy like Brendan Rodgers and pay him circa £3 million a year to not let him play his style and formation and his philosophy in football. You don't hire a guy like Ange Postecoglou and turn around and say, "Oh, by the way, you see, you're gung ho. We never stop high tempo, high pressing football. We're going to give you Liam Scales as a winger," sort of thing. You don't say, if you hire Ange Postecoglou, you're looking for guys like Jota, Abada. You would hire guys like maybe the Bobby Petter, people who are going to run down the wings and bring the ball in central. You don't hire, cart horses and fucking heavy bruisers when you're signing guys like Postecoglou to be a manager. It's the same with Rodgers, and I use him because he's the most recent, so obviously set in his trenches and his style. But Rodgers is the exact same. It's a slightly different style to Postecoglou, but he is a high-profile, at our level, an elite manager that we're paying an obscene amount of money, that he's definitely worth it. But yet we're not giving him the tools, the players, to actually play his style. So I think it's a bit stupid from the club to be doing all these recruitment policies that doesn't help the manager. And then we as fans or the club, whoever you look at it, are sitting here looking at him and thinking, are you going to change your formation? Are you going to, stop playing your 4-3-3 in favour of a 3-5-2 or 4-4-2 or whatever? I know James is going to kill me for asking for two strikers now. But you don't ask Rodgers to change it because that's not his philosophy. That's not his football. If you're going to insist on the players into the club without giving any respect to the manager's desires and players that he needs, or the type of players he needs, then you may as well, for all intents and purposes, just give the job to John Kennedy. Because all you're doing at this point is needing a guy who's going to run training courses and then just picking 11 players at the pitch and just tell them to have at it. Because that's what we're doing with Rodgers. We're telling him basically, we're going to not give you the tools that you want and just play somebody and hope for the best. That's not to take the blame completely away from Rodgers, because he does need to manage the games and he still needs to go out there and win. But I can't really overly expect that he's going to suddenly change it and start playing a 3-5-2 for the next 10 weeks. What he does, I don't know, but he does need to do something. And I think James will agree here. I think we all agree. It's probably going to start by figuring out how to fucking use a midfield and actually do something. I don't know if it's taking the positions out of the equation and putting two midfielders in there rather than three, trying to change what they're doing, the personnel, or what, I don't know what it is, but it's the big thing that he needs to do is fix the midfield with 6 guys all who are all the same type of player in this. So it's a tough one, and that's what I mean by, along with the wingers and the striker issue, that's what I mean by not giving them Rodgers a tool. We've given them 6 players who all play the exact same way, but Rodgers actually needs 3 different types of midfielders. He needs a 10, he needs a holding, and he needs a box-to-box passer, which technically would be Callum McGregor, but we're asking McGregor to play a 6 and holding, and then the other ones are just, they're not able to do either or all of the other ones anyway. So, yeah. I don't know. He needs to do something, Gavin, but I don't know what it is he's going to do or what can be done. It might be, as we keep saying tonight so far, it might be this way until January and then see what happens.
Yeah. Well, obviously we can't wait until January before we can buy players and go to Dubai and come back refreshed and start again. At the moment, we need to kind of build on the lead that we've got between Rangers. 7 points, I think it is, last I checked. And obviously we're behind Hearts, but we need to push on. But Jed, at the moment, we are struggling to buy a goal. I'm looking at the league table right now. Obviously we're second, played 6, won 4, drawn 2, but we've only scored 8 goals. 8 goals in 6 games. Hearts, on the other hand, have scored 15 goals. Now, admittedly, Hearts have conceded 8. We've only conceded 1. So I totally get the fact that titles are won on strong defences. And as James said earlier on, we do have a somewhat strong defence. Yeah, we've got a couple of problems here and there, but we're not shipping goals domestically. But if we can't score goals, then we can't convert these draws into wins. And we've not. Another valid question is, when was the last time we won a big game? And not even in Europe, now domestically. When was the last time we won a big game domestically? So between now and January, we need to come up with something. I don't know if we'll change the shape. Unlikely. I don't know if we'll change that much in personnel, but Rodgers has to dig deep here in order to kind of push the players and motivate them. Do you think that's pretty much what it comes down to, psychology, motivation, or are these players spent?
Yeah, I hope they're not. Something needs to give. Now, could it be Rodgers where it's, I think it was yourself said earlier with Shin and that some of the players that's been brought in that are obviously not his signings, so he's not interested in them. But could we maybe go to these guys? They've not had a chance, but we're not seeing them in training. Honestly, I'm worried about Iniacho because he's not feeling match fit. So we're putting all the onus in him now to try and help out. Kenny is not going to run out. Shin's not going to run out. And we're going James Forrest, and you can see the fans are now getting in his back a wee bit as well when he's coming on as a sub. I'm the same as McGinty. I really don't know what the answer is. We've all got opinions, but I don't know. I don't know how we can get through this. Hard work, and
yeah.
Maybe what we did see last night when we did go to a back three, we did get the ball forward a bit quicker. We could maybe do that against some teams in Scotland. We could maybe try it on Sunday. But against, I think we would struggle against Hearts to play that three at the back because of the way they do the counter attack. So it is such a big game. We have to win on Sunday. A draw's no good for us. And I think I'm right in saying Motherwell have not been beaten in the league yet.
That's correct. 1 win and 5 draws. They've scored 4, conceded 7. Yeah.
Right. So we need to.
So scored 9. Scored 9.
We do not want the scenario where they score first on Sunday because the fans are already angry now. So that's just going to get them on the players' backs. That's not at this precise moment. We need to try and back the team to give them the support, but it's very, very difficult to do that at the moment because of what we're seeing on the park.
Yeah. Aye, and I see the way that Hearts have been playing, and people are saying that. But remember Aberdeen last season. The Hearts this season, I'm not saying that they're the real McCoy, but they look a different beast to what Aberdeen were last season. Even the professionals, if you hear them talking about it on the Open Goal show with Simon Ferry last year, if you watch their podcast, a lot of the Scottish pros who were interviewed, they said they could see that Aberdeen, they had the right run of fixtures and they could see it falling off, and that's what happened. Hearts, for me, I could be totally different. They just look, I'm not saying that they're going to win the league. I still have us as favourites, of course, but see if we were to play Hearts tomorrow, the way that they hunt in packs, their aggression, their fighting for each other, their passion, and the fact that they've got a couple of tidy players. Obviously, Shankland, if you give him the ball in the right position, he'll score you the goals domestically. And that boy Braga, Claudio Braga, that's his name. Yeah. He looks a very, very good signing for them. If we played them tomorrow at Parkhead, Tynecastle, I would have the fear. I wouldn't be overly confident. Just that we've got the better players, but it's just the way that they're playing. It's that mentality that they've got. They've got the zeitgeist right now, and we certainly don't have that. So, as we said, between now and January, we really need to come up with solutions. And you're talking about hard work. We really need to get down to the basics sometimes when things are going wrong. Get down to the basics. James,
one result, a good performance on Sunday and a good victory could help us along the way massively.
It does have that feeling, Jed, at times, even in parts. Was it the Hibs game as well? We actually played quite well.
Yeah.
But it does look like a few players need that confidence boost of a good 5-0 win. with a good performance attached to it, to have the mentality to say, all right, we can do it and it does pay off, right, let's go next time. And maybe it does take that one game and it just kind of kickstarts the season. But I think, like most of us, that's wishful thinking and hoping. I just don't see it in the performances that we've got. Again, I said last week at some point on the podcast as well, looking at all the games in the Europa League, I'm not confident of any game in the Europa League because the performances are just that lackluster. But it might take that one, Jed, that one big victory that kicks everything into place, gives us the confidence. But I'm going into games not assured at all anymore.
Yeah.
Right. Jed, conscious that you have to go past at the latest.
Yeah.
I want to get this feature in before you head. Shouldn't take too long. However, take as long as you want. So it's called Build the Perfect Celt. So we've had the other guys' comments on it. And what it is you might have seen it on YouTube. I like to watch it whenever they ask like ex-boxing pros, build your perfect boxing, and they say who's got the perfect jab, perfect hook, the perfect chin, perfect stamina, ring IQ, that sort of thing. So it's a football thing. And I want you to give your answers based on Celtic players that you've seen in your lifetime.
Okay.
So there's quite a few to get through. So if you want to do quick fire answers, go ahead. If you want to explain your choice, go for it. It's your time for this. So build your perfect Celt, starting with right foot. Who would you go for?
Larson.
Left foot.
Tommy Burns.
We're going back here. Right, football IQ.
Paul Lambert.
Speed.
Didier Gap.
A popular one. Technical ability.
Lubomir Ravchik.
Passing.
Paul McStay.
Hold up play.
Hold up play. Chris Son.
Very good answer. Dribbling.
Well, obviously we think of Jimmy Johnson, but in the last few years, Scotty Sinclair was decent, wasn't he?
Sinclair, very good, very good. Shooting.
Chris Commons, actually.
Very underrated Celtic player, I think. Tackling.
Roy Aitken.
Heading. And that
Paul
can be
Elliott.
in our box and their box as well.
Paul Elliott.
I wish I saw him play. Really, really do. Aggression.
Can you pick the same guy twice?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Roy Aitken.
Team player.
Danny McGrain.
Set pieces.
Lubomir Ravchik.
Power.
Again, he's hit a lot of long. Lee Griffiths had some power on that left foot, has.
Yeah.
So go Griffiths.
The previous guys we've got for that are Wanyama, Bobo Balde, Lee Griffiths. But of course,
I
power
was
is
thinking
ambiguous.
power as in the shot. That's what I was thinking.
Power is ambiguous. Could be the power of love. Could be the bastard in midfield. Anything at all. Power of a shot. And the final one, leadership.
Scott Brown.
Aye. Right, that's brilliant. And a good mixture of like the kind of current players and a few older players like Paul Elliott and Tommy Burns. Aye, really good answers. So thanks very much for that. I enjoyed that. Right, so I guess moving on. What do we have? What you talk about, just the kind of the fan experience right now, going to the games and obviously watching it as well. So it's not just exclusive to match going fans. But I guess one of the things that we're looking at right now is the entertainment on display right now, and people say it's your kind of third year syndrome, and I do believe that managers do have a shelf life, but it's unignorable the fact that right now the football that we're seeing, the entertainment that we're seeing, is not there, and it's not just this season. It was, I think, the popular consensus is from about January onwards, it's been like that. You obviously want to kind of give your backing as a fan, but you're going to the games, you're paying your money, and it's a lot of money, but it seems like it's just not there. The entertainment, the kind of the free flowing play that we've got, the goals which we've touched on. James, what's it like for you whenever you go with your boy? When I went as a boy, it was like Martin O'Neill era, Tommy Burns era, where you might not win every game, but you certainly got a lot of goals. Talking about Tommy Burns, of course, more so Martin O'Neill, you would win almost every game. The match going experience for me was much more electric. It was excitement. There was a lot of household names on display for Celtic. Right now, it looks like, and you might agree with me, we've had 4 very good years, 2 with Ange, 2 with Brendan. This year seems a totally different beast right now. It's not that much fun going as a Celtic fan. Still go out of loyalty. What's your thoughts on that?
Being totally honest, it's a bit of a chore going to the games, and as you say, like, you go and it's no good to watch, but you're kind of expecting that at the same time. It was like last night, I've been on here and said that just put all eggs in winning the league, put them in that basket. Anything else is a bonus. I kept reading that we could do a Europa League team. I don't know if that's just simply because we done relatively well in the Champions League last year, but it's the squad has been stripped for parts. So I was never putting a lot of importance on the Europa League this season, to be honest with you. In the league, it's been all right. Like, we went to Ibrox and get a draw, which any other season would say is a good result. As long as you go there and don't get bet, you're all right. But you see the state they're in as well, and you've seen how poor the game was for both teams. Then you go to Hibs last week, and funnily enough, that Hibs game, in the league at least, was probably our best performance, I think, in terms of creating chances. We drew it 0-0 and dropped 2 points. But that's just been the story of the season. There's been games, like the first game of the season, Rugby Park, where it's been late goals, and I don't know if I'd go as far to say it's papering all the cracks, because we all know what the issues are. I know, like you were saying earlier, is that a mentality thing? Is it a coaching thing? And I get all that, but for me, I just think I can't go any further than the transfer window and it being a recruitment issue. I know there's folks saying he needs to freshen it up, he needs to change. In my opinion, he changed it last night. Went 3 at the back. We still didn't create an awful lot of chances. It doesn't matter the system he plays. And I said this last night as well. The folk that are asking for Rodgers to go, as much as I can get the reasoning based off what you're seeing in the park, if that was the only factor, then I'd be right there with you. But I just go back to it, and I think I said to you in the group chat earlier, sorry Gav, I'm going off on a tangent here, but the chat just a few weeks ago was when the window was closing. If Rodgers leaves and says fuck you to the board because he's been left with a dross and we've no back to him and he done well last year and all the rest of it, Bayern Munich was random close and all that, and then it got to the summer, we didn't do it. Rodgers came out and told us anybody that would listen that we need quality. Callum McGregor came out towards the end of the window and told us we need quality. We didn't get that quality in. Then it was if Rodgers left, it'd essentially be seen as a kind of a martyr. if he left and gave two fingers to the board and said up yours, I'm off, like, you're no doing to me what you done the last time, and they've done exactly that. But and the other thing that I went back to as well is, again, just a few weeks ago, Roger said the comment, when the Chancellor sacked the board start, it tends to mean sack the manager. And at the time, everybody went, that doesn't mean anything. Why is he saying that? You fast forward a few weeks, and I'd say, I don't know if I'd go as far to say it's 50-50, but I don't think it's far off it in terms of folk wanting him to go. And I know that folks say he's got to change it, he's got to get more out the players that's there. We should beat Cairo, we should beat Hibs, we should beat Braga. I don't think this squad's got a divine right to beat everybody. You could play Pollock Juniors, the Mora. If we've got Yang on the wing, I still wouldn't fancy him to have a good game. Do you know what I mean? I don't think anybody, you could put Pep Guardiola in charge of the Mora. I don't think he magics a right winger into the squad. I don't think he magics a balance in midfield. Iheanacho is going to be our main striker. He was filming himself in a public park 2 weeks ago in an effort to prove his fitness. We've since the window's closed, we've found out about the Maeda thing, emptying his locker and being away. Obviously the Yang thing, but he was going to Birmingham. So that's two players that don't want to be here that we know of. And they're still in that dressing room. There's guys, like I said, probably like Hatate, that the race is probably ran here. They've done all that they're going to do. And then you could literally run through every player in that forward line. Taneki, 100%, gave him a pass. Iheanacho, I'll give him a pass. Then you're looking at Yang, no good enough. James Forrest is past it. He can't be relied on. Johnny Kenny, he's never had it. Shin Yamada is essentially surplus to requirements at this point. Am I missing him? I don't know. But Callum Osmond, signed B-team player, pointless. I just don't think... Sorry?
Pusey.
But another pointless one. But I just don't think changing the manager really solves anything. I just can't personally... And look, you can say his style of play, sideways and backwards and all the rest of it, but I just don't think the players are there. Like McGinty says, like, you bring Brendan Rodgers back, you were of the assumption that he was going to be back. And I keep seeing him getting battered over the headway, the fees that we paid for Engels, Ida and Trusty. And I keep getting back to it. All three of them, we had a very successful season last year. All three of them played pretty large parts in that success. Adam Ida, for as bad as he was this season when he left, considering the fee that we got for Adam Ida and what he contributed to Celtic, when you think back, I mean, he scored, 20 goals last season. He scores, obviously, the cup final when he was on his loan spell. I'll give him some credit for the goal against Young Boys, which put us through in the Champions League, although it wasn't him that really scored it. Adam Ida, if we're being honest and taking the kind of emotion of how far off form he was, Adam Ida wasn't a bad signing for Celtic. It ended poorly because he was hopeless, but when you consider, as I say, the fee that we got and what we recouped for him, I don't think he's been a bad signing. I think the fee plus, as I say, what he contributed was more than worth the money we spent. Engels and Trusty contributed last season. Engels is miles off it this season, along with everybody else in that midfield. Trusty's injured. So the notion that Brendan Rodgers' recruitment is poor, I take on board and is right. But it was also my main concern when he came back. It wasn't a new thing. And if MD and the board didn't look at his signings for the first spell and think it was pretty poor, then that board is worse than we think, because his success in the first spell was basically Ronnie Dyler's team plus Scott Sinclair. So I really find it hard to, and I suppose he's got to take a wee tiny bit of the blame, but I just find it hard to look anywhere other than the boardroom to apportion blame. I think he's been hung out to dry, and I think it's pretty unfair, to be honest, to turn on him at this point, considering where we were just 2 weeks ago, with his comments and what he was saying. And just to put all that in the bin. We all acknowledged when we weren't playing, when it was still the summer, that the squad was poor and miles away from where it had to be. So I don't think it's a massive surprise that we're seeing these poor performances that are miles away from where they should be happening. But to tie in with what the actual question was, now that I've run the hoosies, in terms of actually going to the game, people still turn up. I'll still turn up. It's Boat and Pideford, but the majority of the time, the full-time whistle's going, right, thank fuck. Like we've held on or we've scored late or whatever it is. It's just, like we were saying earlier, I forgot about the Falkirk game, but apart from that, it hasn't been enjoyable. I must admit, I was actually a wee bit surprised last night when I got into the ground. It was probably 10-15 minutes before kick-off. And when I went to my seat, I was like, fuck, this is empty. I was like, this is really empty. But it did.
Very empty.
But it did fill up. I noticed. I don't know. Obviously, the kick.
There were 46,000 tickets sold for the game.
Aye, it was kind of a bit busier than I expected, as I said, because when I went in, it was empty, but it did fill up. I don't know if rush hour traffic, people finishing work, we being the early kick-off kind of played into that, maybe turning up bang on time or a wee bit late. But no, overall, it is a chore to go to the football this season. It isn't enjoyable, and at the end of every game, as I say, like, right, thank fuck, that's done. you're almost looking forward to the international breaks.
On something that James has been saying, and I'm asking it to you and the people that's watching as well. Would you be happy with Brendan Rodgers getting a new contract?
I would have my reservations. Because I think, and this isn't reserved to one particular manager, I just think in my lifetime as a Celtic fan, even when Celtic are having success, there is a shelf life. Going back to Martin O'Neill, Gordon Strachan, Brendan Rodgers' first stint, Neil Lennon as well. I think that 3 years, there's method to that madness there. To 3 years roughly is time to leave. Even Ange as well. I think near the end of his time, it was getting a little bit forced. That's just my opinion. I'd have my reservations, but yeah.
I as much I don't think it will happen. I think he's long gone now at the end of the season, to be honest. But I don't know, to be honest with you. I think it would have to come with some guarantees, but I thought it would have came with guarantees the first time around. I don't think I would be dead against it, to be honest, on the assumption that we're going to make changes to the recruitment side there. But I honestly, I don't think I would be against it, to be totally honest. But it would need to come with guarantees.
McGinty, what do you think?
Like I said earlier, Brendan Rodgers is one of the best managers we've ever had, especially in our lifetime. And he's the type of manager that you entrust with the football squad, and you have to back him. So as James is saying, it needs to come with guarantees. We all questioned it on this podcast when he first came back. Was surely he's been assured that he's going to get the players that he needs, because we all know he had the issues with the John McGinn saga the first time around. Arzani came in and it's like, Shved came in and it's like, who the fuck is this guy? It's the same shit all over again. Gavin, you mentioned, a lifespan of a football manager at Celtic's kind of approximately 3 years. I don't disagree with you, but you're taking that over the spell of Martin O'Neill to now, and we all know there's issues in the 90s as well, so that's a different reason. But see, since Martin O'Neill's shelf life started to expire, that was the same time that the iteration of the board that we know it started to take hold and take form. More so, Peter Lawwell came in the door. Martin came straight out within a matter of days of Peter Lawwell coming in the door and made his line about, get used to life in the slow lane as a Celtic fan.
But what about Gordon Strachan and Neil Lennon and Brendan Rodgers first time round?
But it's the same thing that we're seeing now. It's the same thing we seen at Rodgers' first time around. New managers come in and they get the little, they get that initial boost. They get the initial 20, 30 million in the first season or whatever it may be equivalent to back in the days. But then the board just pulls everything in completely. Ange saw it as well, and I'll stand by this. Ange saw the writing on the wall and knew what was coming. Ange got freedom to do what he wanted because we had a CEO in Don Mackay who actually knew how to run a fucking sports club and let the manager actually be the fucking manager, and he backed the manager.
He got punted because of the contract he gave to James McCarthy. 100%.
Yeah, that one, the less said about the better. But yeah, but every manager, like Ange was in. See, by the time that Peter Lawwell had came back, there was pictures of, was it Lawwell and Nicholson and Ange at Celtic Park, I think, early in that year, February, March time. And then about a month later, we started getting the rumours of, him working his ticket, and then slowly but surely we got rumours and noise of Tottenham Hotspur. But at the time that he was pictured with the two numpties, people started trying to make 2 and 2, and was like, oh, he's going to get funded for this, he's going to get funded for that, he's going to get X, Y, Z, and he's going to get backed. Why would he get promised all that glory and then be like, nah, mate, I'm getting the fuck out of here? The guy was talking about building a dynasty. The guy was talking about making inroads in Europe, and suddenly Peter Lawwell's on the scene, and he goes, nah, I can see. Ange Postecoglou could see Peter Lawwell for what he is. Rodgers saw what Peter Lawwell was for what he was the first time around, and he's seen what he is for now. And it's the same every time. You get that 3-year mark, and all the funding gets pulled right in. As I said, done it last time. John McGinn didn't get him. He wanted Castagna as his fullback, didn't get him. Got given guys like Azani or Shved and whoever else it was. Didn't want any of them. Rodgers played politics, and we can fault Rodgers for some of it as well, for playing politics with it all. But you could clearly see at the time, we all buried our heads at sometimes as well and blamed it. But after the fact, and more recently, we now all look back and go, oh yeah, we can see what happened. It's fucking happening again. The exact same shit is happening right now.
But you can understand why I've asked this question. And if you look at the replies from people who's watching as well, a month ago, everybody was backing Brendan Rodgers to the hill.
I'm still backing him
now. Yeah, listen, so am I. But what I'm saying is, you can see the tides are turning a little bit. That is the fans are kind of split. It's maybe 70-30 now, but another couple of performances like it was last night, Rodgers is going to get it. He's going to get it off the fans.
Jeff, would you stick with him?
Yes, I wouldn't get rid of him, but I do not think he's going to stay. But I wouldn't get rid of him now. No.
That's where I think it's unfair though, because like you just said it there, Jed, like a couple of weeks ago, as the window shut, everybody was in Team Rodgers and it was sack the board, and Rodgers, if you wanted anybody in, it was Rodgers. They would circle the troops and rally the troops and just drag us to a league title. I think if you ask anybody, I mean, we seen it in the group chat earlier, I think, be it across supporters, pundits, ex-players, whatever, I think they would all still tip Celtic to win the league. Rightly or wrongly, we'll obviously find out. So this is kind of where my issue lies. And I said in the group chat earlier, I think it's a kind of, you can't see the wood for the trees argument, because based off what we've seen this season in terms of performance, we are going to be dragged kicking and screaming along the way. Hopefully that ends in a league title. We all sat 2-3 weeks ago and said, the squad isn't good enough. We've had Rodgers telling us all the time, McGregor, as I said, they've all come out and said we need it. We didn't get it. And if anything, since then, in terms of the stories that's come out for the club, and we've not even touched on the meeting on Monday yet, we've obviously got the protests and the Maida situation, Yang situation. You've got your manager getting briefed about in the press against. You've got that. That's all happened in the in-between times. But because we're getting dragged kicking and screaming, and the fit was no great because we've got a poor squad, all of a sudden it's on the manager. And that's where I'm struggling. And look, I sat here and wanted Rodgers sacked in his first season. I think it was after a Hearts game when Hearts bet as a Parkhead. I was raging. But I look at it now and I'm like, there's clear issues at Celtic. And for me, Brendan Rodgers is a million miles down that list. I mean, even just to touch on the press briefing thing, you've got a guy, I think we can safely say it's Lawwell, I think we all kind of know it, that your chairman is briefing against your manager in the press. Zero has happened at the club about that. There has not been a statement put out. There has not been anybody lost their job. There has been zero happened. That cannot be allowed to happen. That on its
Banner
own
said it last week, James. The silence is deafening.
Exactly. That on its own should see somebody lose their job. If that doesn't tell you that your manager is working with one horn at best tied behind his back, I don't know what else will. When the guys that's supposed to be his closest allies within the club are briefing the son of all papers against the manager, that's what I see when it's like you can't see the wood for the trees. Like, on the park, it is poor. So I understand how you would go sideways passing, fucking horseshoe, no doing anything. The manager's shite because that's how last season ended. I can't argue against you. But my argument back to that would be the recruitment in the summer. He told us what was needed. The captain told us what was needed. It didn't happen. 2 weeks ago, before the season had started, 4 weeks ago now, however long it was, before the season started, we all sat and we said the squad is so poor. I sat just while you were talking earlier, Jed, just according to Wikipedia, this is just goals. We took 86 goals out the team for last season between Maida having 33, Kuhn 21, Ida 20 and Kyogo 12. So far, the only two that would kind of give pass marks to that they've replaced them with is Taneki, who had 7 goals across 2 clubs last season, and Ian Acho, who had 4 across 2 clubs. You've then got Barakwisha with 4, Shin Yamada, for what I could see, had 5, but is now essentially surplus to requirements. So I don't understand how in the one hand you can go, the fit was boring and all the rest of it, but then 4 or 5 weeks ago, however long it was, and say, aye, it's all on the board. The squad's poor, but now the poor squad is playing poorly. It's on the manager, and you consider everything that's going on in the dressing room in terms of the players that don't want to be there and everything else. That's why I think it's so harsh to have a go at the manager.
But I think as well, from come this Sunday, us the fans, the 12th man, have to back. We have to give the team the full support. We need to drive the players forward to victory on Sunday. We have to, and if we do it to allow us to get to January, to try and get new players in.
Aye.
We have to back the players. We have to. But I'm moaning about them. But when I'm at the game, I don't criticise the players. I'm maybe angry, but I'm not going to shout and boo if they pass the ball back. I've never done that. But we have a big part to play. Let's start on Sunday.
Jed, another kind of topic I wanted to ask, and I'm conscious that you might have to leave in the next few minutes. I'll just kind of put this question to you. So it's been reported that there's a meeting that's taking place on Monday between Michael Nicholson and co with the Celtic fans groups. What's your genuine expectations of that? I know that we're all quite cynical. What's your expectations of the outcome of that meeting?
Well, who's going to be there from the board? Is it going to be Lawwell? Right. Well, first and foremost, the representative of the board, whoever it may be,
Michael Nicholson, I believe, is going.
Right. They have to apologise for that statement. To bring in PSR as an excuse not to be spending is an absolute disgrace and an embarrassment. You know, they're treating the fans like mushrooms, feeding us shite and keeping us in the dark. Absolutely embarrassing. First of all, I need to apologise about that. We could have spent £80 million this year and it would not have affected the PSR. No one expected us to spend that, but we could have done that. And they're trying to pull the wool over the fans' eyes. they've made an arse of it, and they need to admit they've made an arse of it, and say, right, guys, this is what we've put in place. Come January, we've already got this and that. There need to be a plan to let the fans know where we're going. Because see, if they don't, there are going to be more protests.
Mm-hmm.
The fans want to know what the plan is.
Yeah.
Because they don't know, like I commented on 5 minutes ago, the banner said it all last week. The silence is deafening.
Guys, I'm afraid that it's just going to be more corporate jargon that we're going to get from them on Monday night. I don't think they're going to speak to us on our level in plain English and give honest answers. I think it will just be more corporate language.
Well, they'll get found out right away then.
We'll try to placate the fans with false promises and empty words. I just think it'll be more of the same. I think it's a cynical fan here talking. I just think it's a gesture where people come away thinking, well, I didn't learn much from that. That's my fears and expectations. James or McGinty, thoughts on the meeting for Monday?
Can I just say, David Grant has just basically hit the nail on the head. He's summed up in 12 words what I've just tried to explain in about 20 minutes of ranting. That's basically what I'm saying. He's been absolutely hung out to dry, and there's no people firing shots at him, which I find totally unfair when we should be aiming elsewhere. But in terms of Monday, I don't know, to be honest. I really don't know what to expect, because it's obviously came about. Like, the protests have obviously had an effect. I think the board have been dragged kicking and screaming pretty much into this agreement. I don't think we're going to see any changes of personnel at boardroom level, because I don't think the board would want to see is basically having bowed to fan pressure. So I really don't know. I think I know the open letter that was there. We put our name to. I know the thinking about the Fairhurst inquiry, but if we're being honest, your kind of average match going supporter doesn't really have much of an interest in that. I get the people that are directly involved, and well, I totally appreciate that, but it's more the other questions that we're looking for to get answered. And then on top of that, since that's happened, like Jed said, the explanation of the statement, I'd like somebody to put their name to that statement, somebody to be bold enough to come out and say, that was me, and I've done this for the reasons X, Y, and Z. Just admit you're wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. I'd like to know, and it's something I've been on about before, why are we sitting with a guts of £100 million in the bank and putting season ticket prices up above inflation? I think that's a perfectly fair and reasonable question that they should be able to answer. They must have a reason for setting ticket prices at the price they are. Jed touched on it with the UEFA regulations as well. That needs answered.
James, why did we pay a corporation tax bill of £12 million when we could have used some of that money in the stadium and that would have offset the tax bill? Absolutely shocking. That stadium badly needs done up as well. That money, part of that money could have went into that.
That's something else I don't think we've ever touched on, is the stadium. The stadium.
I've mentioned it quite a few times on here and in the thing.
I'm in the south stand, and it's fucking prehistoric, man. It's
a prawn sandwich brigade or no in there anyway, innit? So that must be bad if you're saying that.
Can't even get a sandwich either. Can't even get one.
No, but honestly, even just, I know we always going about the banners outside and all that, but just totally stupid things like there's no hot water in the toilets. If I take the way into the toilet, it still needs to go into the cubicle. There's no lights in the cubicle. There's lights in the toilet, but directly above the cubicle, they're either never on or they're broke, and you just can't see. Just totally daft wee things, leaks all over the place and all the rest of it. And if you're putting season book prices up year on year, no gain is an explanation, and sitting with all that money in the bank, these things shouldn't be an issue for a club that wants to be world class and everything that they do. I mean, if you can't get a fucking bathroom right, then what chance have you got running the football club? You can't get hot water in the toilets. So,
sorry, James, for cutting.
No, that was me. But it's just, I think it's something that it needs mentioned, and I don't think it, apart with the banners, I don't really think it's been something that's been kind of touched on really.
I agree.
And
McGinty.
even sorry, mate. I know I fucking got dug with a bone when I got on with this, but the lifts up to the tap tier, it doesn't affect me, but you've got a queue for like an hour for the lift, and it's touch and go whether a steward will let you into the lift to get up to the tap tier. How can that be at a club in this day and age where you've got one lift up to the tap tier and you're queued up for however long to get into it? You're missing kick-off, you're missing bits of games, you need to turn up fucking the day afore so you can get to your seat. It's a joke, it's a shambles, and as I say, world-class basics and all the rest of it, it's just utter bullshit. And another thing. No, that's me done, I think.
Okay. McGinty, the fans group have said what?
I believe Jed's muted, but I get the feeling he's telling us that he's about to leave us.
You're about to head, Jed?
To tell us. Anyway, Jed, we'll catch you next time.
Cheers. That was good having Jed on. No seen him in a while. I'm so glad that he could make a contribution for tonight's Friday. McGinty, in terms of the Monday night meeting, now the fans, they have said that they've suspended or postponed the protests. So they obviously had like the minute silence, 28-minute silence, I think it was, for the Braga game, and they would have had one plan for the Motherwell game. Now they have postponed that out of a gesture of goodwill because the board are willing to sit down and hold talks with them. But after this meeting on Monday, I wanted my question to you is, will the protests resume again? Now, my genuine opinion is the way that the protests have started up until now, I think they've been a little bit underwhelming. I think stronger action could have been taken. I can't quite decide personally what action should have been taken, but just a minute silence and the delay to go into an away ground wasn't strong enough to provoke any impact from the board. But this meeting on Monday, it's not just about a lack of communication between the customers, the fans, and the people who hold the reins of power. It's more than just a lack of communication. It's about a lack of action over a prolonged period of time. Self-inflicted damage done continuously. Whenever we talk about like Champions League qualifiers, what is it? 3 out of 8 that we've managed and we've failed at five occasions. And recruitment and things like that, and nepotism. There are a number of things which we are raging about as Celtic fans, and quite frankly, I think a lot of us have had enough. Will the protests resume again after the Monday meeting, or is there some kind of miracle going to take place where we're all placated and we're like, oh right, okay, so that's your plan. Thank you for communicating that to us. We'll go on our merry way. We won't raise any banners against you now. We'll sing for the team, and we'll buy the pies, we'll buy the bovrils, we'll buy your 4 tops every summer. It can't just go back to the way it was. So we're stopping protests right now. But what do you think, regardless of the outcome of the meeting? Surely things will just be ramped up again. We can't just change like that. We can't just lose the momentum.
I think they'll start back up in some form. I think the Celtic Fans Collective, the group that's being kind of put together by all the various different associations and supporters groups and fan media. Not every single one of us is obviously represented, and that's not an argument. It's just obviously there's so many fans we need to unite behind one figure, which is the collective. And this is where our start for action, the start for change begins. With the protest stopping, I do agree with you, Gavin. I would have done something slightly different in the protest so far. I would be a bit more aggressive about it. I spoke here last week, I think it might have been Pat McLaughlin, talked about it last week as well, that, hard protests before and after the game outside the front door with proper chants and proper banners and all the rest of it against the board and the club cheer and support the players when they come off the team bus and they enter, and you show them the support, they return quickly to the sack the board kind of shit. And in the stadium, keep those banners and those protests and those chants going, mix it up with support for the team, but also don't let it die off. That, you know, the anger and the distrust from the fans to the board is still there. The whole point of the silent protest was in reference to the silence since this has all taken place. So the 12-minute was the man thing. The 29-minute, which would have been last night, and then the 32 minutes is in relation to how many days since that 7-question open letter went out, and there's been no response from the club. I don't expect anything to come out of this on Monday, and I think the people who are part of the fans collective probably expect the exact same. They don't expect anything. It's clear for years that Peter Lawwell and his minions on the board, they generally don't like the Celtic fans. They despise us, is what I would feel. We've got anecdotal stuff throughout the years of how they treated different fan groups within the stadium, how they just treat fans overall. You can go back to how they treat the Green Brigade in the North Curve. You can look at the whole thing last season with the police corral, and obviously that Fairhurst report that eventually came out last week that basically says not our fault. They just don't give a fuck about the fans. So for me, this is them paying lip service to what's going on, because there's a bit of media attention to it. It gets the protests and the silence to stop for the Braga game, which is obviously broadcast across Europe and the world. Was that me thinking of trying to do it? Because if they acknowledge that they'll engage with the supporters groups, that, you know, that was the whole point of the protest, to try and garner an engagement. We got the engagement. The protest rightly stops, because that's what the whole point of the silent protest was. That section of hopefully the larger call for action. I don't think it changes on Monday. I think if this board generally had something up their sleeve to come out and say, look, we admit we've got shit wrong over the last 20 years. We're going to change our ways. We're going to actually engage more than you've ever seen before. We're going to change how we tell you information, how transparent or untransparent, opaque that we are. We're going to show you that, you know, we're implementing the football structure that we're all screaming about. If they had genuine plans, they would just come out and tell the wider support. They wouldn't entertain a fans collective. They have no desire to entertain that. This is lip service to quell some noise for a little period of time, much in the same way that we sacrificed Mark Lawwell, Joe Dungeon, we sacrificed Peter Lawwell, knowing fine well that 18 months later he was coming back as chairman. It is all lip service to take a little bit of heat off them, buy them a little bit of time to go through, see if some of the fans curry back onto favour. As James points out earlier on, a month ago we were all in the same boat, not Rodgers' fault, fuck the board and all the rest of it. A month later, results generally have been going our way within reason. Performances have been absolutely piss poor. Who's to blame for it? A little bit Rodgers, because obviously he picks a team in the formation, but at the grander level, it's the recruitment of the board. It's all their fault. This is them just carrying a little bit of time until enough fans come back on board to their side, until enough fans go, oh, look, they did engage a little bit. Oh, look, they did talk to you, right? Back to buying your football tops. I don't think we should let go of it, and I don't think this collective is going to let go of it. This collective doesn't become a thing that it is just now, and it is very much in its infancy, but it doesn't become a thing with the players involved. If you're talking about, you know, the Irish Supporters Associations, the CSAs, the associations, owners, these guys don't get involved at this level if it's just fans being disgruntled and knee-jerk reaction because of one shitty window. This is years, decades of neglect from the club about the stadium, about transfer policies. Going back to what we were saying earlier, Gavin, about the 3-year shelf life, it's because we hamstring every single manager when they get into the second season and into the third season. The fund and the support for that manager always becomes less. The manager gets fed up and says, go fuck yourself. Lennon said it in his first stint when he left. Basically, glass ceiling, took the club as far as I can go. Dialogue was obviously is what it is. Rodgers left first time around for the same reasons. Ange Postecoglou knew the writing was on the wall, and then you've got Rodgers again, second time around, and even Lennon to a degree knew it was on writing was on the wall, but there's other factors there. They all know it; it's all there. So unless they're going to come out and make big claims of change, it's the fans collectives they're going to keep ramping this back up. They're going to give the club and the board their moment to come out and give them the chance. I don't think they're going to tell us anything. Otherwise, they would come out today and already tell the wider support, here's our grand plan. They've not got a grand plan. Not at all. So yeah, short answer, the support and the call of action will continue.
I agree. And I just hope for a different type of action. The minute silence, I think it's an easy one to go for, but I think more colourful protests, visual imagery, like James was talking about, but the kind of colour scarves, like the green and black, that sort of thing, people printing off like kind of small flags that you can take into the ground, to say, like flags with like people have it on like their Twitter avatar, like a Michael Nicholson face with the kind of yeah, exactly, like that sort of thing. Small enough to take into the ground, well, I'm sure isn't going to pinch it off you, that sort of thing. I think visual imagery is very, very powerful. I just think that the minute silence, especially because some people will do it, some people won't, it's not powerful enough. I think that we're intelligent enough to put our heads together and come up with more effective strategies. Begin to.
And I'm going to take it back a couple of topic points. The guys were talking earlier, James and Jed, about the revenue, the money at the bank, why we're paying £12 million in corporation tax and all the rest of it. Quick maths, 50,000 times 600. I know some season tickets will be a lot more than 600, some a little bit less, obviously taking into consideration age groups. But that's 30 million a year. 12 million in corporation tax, meaning there was more money in profit if that's what the fucking tax was. Even just taking the corporation tax, you could probably knock 200 quid off people's season books and still post profit. And yet, as James says, we're putting them up more than inflation. It's just absolutely fucking mental when you look at how much money we're bringing in, and yet we're not redoing the stadium up in any significant way. We're not backing the management with players in any significant way. We're not helping the going fan by giving them even a freeze in the ticket prices anymore, let alone the fact that we could reduce them. The only people benefiting from us hoarding all this cash is the tax man and the big fat cats in the boardroom who get their payday at the end of it. But they're going to get their payday regardless, because that's all budgeted in within the revenue income anyway. This is just hoarding money for no goddamn fucking reason. They've literally admitted no reason for doing it. Jed mentioned about the fucking financial fair play, James as well, you're talking about it. Again, I did the maths before at some point, other people have done it as well. If you take, I think we can make a loss of 100 million, whatever it is, £30 million per season, whatever fucking nonsense it is, but we're banking so much money that legitimately we could spend an additional 20 to 30 million each of the last 3 seasons and still have posted profit and not been anywhere near financial fair play regulations, PSR, whatever fucking terminology you want to. We literally could have spent so much more money and not been in any way close to an issue of being on UEFA's fucking hit list. In fact, I think we're one of the very few clubs that UEFA probably regularly says, "Yous are the good guys, well done."
Yeah.
Rangers, I know we don't want to talk about it. Rangers are literally have been on a hit list of like 12 clubs that got announced, 2 years ago or something. There's like 12 clubs that UEFA were monitoring because of the 3-year financial fair play thing. Rangers were literally one of them. Celtic, nowhere near. We're that much money at bank. We're pocketing money left, right, centre. We're nowhere near this shit.
Agreed. James, we took a bit of flack there for wearing non-Celtic colours. It's just fucking atrocious the fact that you've got so many Celtic pictures in your background, but
I've totally missed it. I've not heard the comments up. I've just realised how what's happening.
Somebody said, "Is this a fake Celtic podcast wearing a Liverpool top?" I've not gotten on the fact that I'm wearing a River Plate top, but like, I don't think they could quite see the amount of money that you've spent on your Celtic memorabilia in the background.
Ironically enough, if £15 this was last year off the Liverpool website when I needed a top for £5, so I never even seen the comment. I've just realised I've had it after I said about that last comment. It slid onto private. But no, well, send him a wee message next time I'm going to buy a tap of any description, just to get the AOK before I purchase it. But no, as you say, I mean, that rail, I mean, you've got a fucking blue Juventus tap, and also you are a disgrace, to be fair. I'm alright, I've got Celtic pictures in the background.
Yeah.
I've got a green screen. We've got a storm sheet green.
Would say at least wear Boca Juniors instead of River Plate. I have heard, I remember you saying that you preferred Boca due to the politics, the politics of the originations of Boca, and I think they had more socialist tendencies, whereas the River Plate were the kind of more middle class. Is that right? You know what I mean? Like, I heard John Paul Dyke say in a Celtic podcast that politics and football are intertwined. I think that's a lazy statement to throw away with. I know that you're just joking. Woodsy, but I don't know. Anyway, right, okay, guys, a fun topic. I've prepared a quiz. We've not had a quiz on this podcast for fucking months, since before the summer. Now, there's a couple of other things that we could talk about, but why don't we just try and lighten up the mood and have a wee quiz? Now, if you've got OCD, you'll probably, this will do your tits in. I'd started off with 10 questions, and I thought, well, that's not good. Let's double. Let's get to 20. But then I lost count, and I got to 21. So I've got 21 questions, because I'm just going to have to deal with it. Now, I thought, going into tonight's podcast, well, we've got Jed, we've got McGinty, and we've got James. James wins all the quizzes.
No pressure.
So why don't I do McGinty and Jed against each other, and James can just sit back and he'll say, I know this one. But it's the two of you. So you are going face to face for the 21 questions.
Congratulations, James.
I've had pressure heaped on me there.
I hate quizzes.
I'm recalling it right now, yes.
Oh, James, 100% is going to win.
Right, okay. So some of the questions will just be fastest first. Some of the questions, however, will be how many can you name? Okay, and I think you get that. So if like you think you can name the most, then and you think you can't name as many as your rival, then the confident guy goes first. And if he can name them all, then he gets a point. If not, I'll give the point to the other one. Yeah, I'll do that. Right, okay, so put your money where your mouth is for those types of questions. So starting off, are we good? We're good, yeah?
Yep.
Right, okay. Question 1. Alan Shearer started his career at which club?
Blackburn? No. Southend? Something like
that. I would have said Blackburn or not, to be fair. Try to think about it.
Southend? Comments off, you boys.
Sorry, I've no looking behind. Let's get rid of that.
Southend.
No, I don't know. I only know Blackburn and Newcastle.
Something just as soon as I said it, something told me there's like it starts with this like Southend or Sutton United or some shit.
If he said Southend and he's got a feeling, I'm going to steal it if it's right and say Southampton, but I have absolutely zero recollection of it.
Oh.
Is it Southampton?
For fuck's sake!
Genuinely,
wouldn't have
got it. And the fact you said Southend, I'm like, he's obviously got that somewhere. Southend's too random.
Aye.
I have zero recollection of that. I don't remember that at all. Wouldn't have got it.
Hey, okay, so James again. Okay, so James has got one. Next question.
Really?
Yeah. My maths is great.
Yeah, it's true, but
can you name all the World Cup winners?
Do you want? Is this way? Do you want me to tell you? I can name 2. That's not my answer. I just obviously.
So. Yeah.
So yes, like, I can name them all, but how many times of each I don't know.
So.
I mean, if McGinty's saying he can name them all, I can't better that, so I'm going to say go for it.
Right, McGinty, you're up. Name the nations who have won the World Cup.
Uruguay, France, Spain, England, Germany, Argentina, Brazil, Italy. feel like I'm missing one.
Do you want to go through it again?
Italy, France, Spain, England, Germany, Brazil, Argentina, Uruguay.
I think you've got them all.
I think there might be one more there, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, so you got Brazil, you got Spain, you got Germany, you got Italy, you got Argentina, you got France,
yeah,
you got Uruguay, you got England.
Yeah.
Well done. Very well done.
Right,
okay. I feel like I want to give you more points, but that's just 1 point.
Yeah.
But really well done.
That nine nations? I could take 9 points.
I feel as if you should lose a point for Southend, to be perfectly honest.
I fucking teed it up for you.
Right, next question. Which player, you might have heard this question before, which player had 13 years... Fuck off.
Is it?
Did I get by default because he fucked up?
Whenever MD says that, it's always Seedorf or Kinchelskis.
Yeah. Which player had 13 years between his first Champions League win and his subsequent Champions League win?
As
we done this?
Winning the trophy.
Yeah.
We done this. We've asked this before.
Yeah. 13 years between.
Definitely not Zlatan. I know it's not him.
No, he never won it.
He never won it at all.
That was a joke.
I've got it. It was a Man United was one of the teams. Pulse? No, it wouldn't be Pulse goals. That wouldn't be long enough.
I really want to keep saying Ronaldo, thinking did he win it with Man United early days, and then obviously with Real Madrid at the end of it. But I don't think there's 13 years between that before he then moves to Juventus.
If you want, I can give you hints. I can give you the years.
Yeah, I would take that.
James, do you want that hint?
Aye, go for it. Aye, I know it's a Man United player.
1995 and 2008.
2-8's Man United. Van der Sar.
Yeah. It was 95 with Ajax in.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
We've done that before.
My head was also trying to think Cruyff at some point, but I don't know if he would have done it because mind you, he had these 2 stints at Ajax as well.
I think Ajax won it like twice, possibly even 3 times on the trot in the 70s. Van der Sar.
Nice.
Right. James is 2-1 up. Question 4. Which English club was the first to win the European Cup twice?
Villa? Forest?
No.
It's Forest,
Hey, well, you'll get it if you keep guessing, so I'm not going to give MD a point for that. The first team to win it twice,
Man United,
would have been Liverpool. Question 5. Who is the Bundesliga's all-time scorer?
Gerd Müller.
That was the same time for me, so I don't know how
he meant Thomas Müller.
So that was fractional. I'm going to give both of you a point for that. Okay, I'm sorry for being on the fence, but both of you were really quick for that one. Hope you don't mind. Right. Next question. Jaap Stam managed which English club?
Ooh. That's quite recent, isn't it?
I've no idea.
I think it's a good 5-8 years ago.
That long?
Not got a clue. Crystal Palace.
Forest.
Okay. Reading.
Nah.
Now the glove is on the ball, man. He's on fire tonight. Who were the hosts of the 2002 World Cup?
Japan.
South Korea and Japan.
James.
Yeah, he got the full, so yeah.
Right, okay, next question. Ali Day, that is his name.
Southampton.
Was at one stage the leading international goal scorer with 108 goals for Iran. Which famous club team did he once play for?
Celtic. We had an Iranian back in some day, did we not? Like
You
the
would
first.
know about this guy.
Aye. Were we not like the first European club to sign an Iranian or some shit like that at one point years ago? No, I didn't count.
Is it no Southampton?
No.
Southend?
Ali Dia? Was that no the guy? Was it? It was like the spoof football player. Is that what you said?
Not spoof. Like he had
No, is that no the
108 international goals for Iran. So at one point, Ronaldo was chasing him for the record. He was a legit player.
Was that no the guy? Was Ali Dia no the guy that did they no write to them and ask for a trial or something and they signed them?
I remember this story, but this was.
Is that no Ali Dia?
No, this
You're
was.
talking about the imposter.
Aye.
No.
He made his own
that-
YouTube video of nonsense.
No, this guy,
No.
he legitimately had, at one point, the highest international goals of anybody in world football.
No, I don't know.
Okay. He played for Bayern Munich. Moving on. Which country was the first ever to win the European Championship final?
Italy, France.
Hungary.
Close, James. Soviet Union in 1960.
What part of Europe are they in?
Aye. Next question. I've forgotten what number we're on. James leads 4-2, by the way. I've made it a wee bit harder this time, and yeah, there's a few questions that none of you have got. Which African nation has gone the furthest at the World Cup?
Cameroon.
Not Kenya.
James, sorry, McGinty, did you say not Kenya?
Yeah, because I know they've never been at the World Cup.
That's not
So I
fucking
know it's
answer.
not them.
Right,
Quizzes is easy if you make up your own questions.
You gave an answer. McGinty gave a negative answer.
Nigeria.
Did you say Nigeria?
Nigeria.
Okay, James, you said Cameroon. Neither of you are right.
Senegal.
Ivory Coast.
Fucking hell. Right, okay, you've had two guesses each. None of you are right.
Oh, for fuck's
Algeria.
sake. Senegal.
Egypt.
Oh, Egypt. Morocco.
Ghana. It's Ghana, the Suarez game.
Morocco. McGinty,
It's no Ghana. It's no the Suarez game.
it was 2002, the most recent one.
Nah, I was going to say that.
That was the most recent World Cup, yeah, 2002.
Yeah. So 2022.
Fair enough.
Right, okay, next question. So James leads 4-3. Which side has won the most UEFA Cup Europa League trophies?
Seville.
Yeah.
James restores the 2-goal lead here. Right, okay. I never knew this. This might be a bit of a disaster question. Which three players have jointly won the most red cards in the Champions League? So it's whoever guesses the most. There's three
Sergio
players.
Ramos.
Okay, Ramos is one. McGinty, get your answers in because James will keep going if you don't. Ramos is one. They've all got 4 red cards each.
Danny Carvajal.
Everybody who played in Real Madrid's defence.
Pepe.
Scott Brown.
McGinty, cast your net wide. People that you know, household names.
Is Pepe no one?
No.
Busquets.
No.
Puyol.
No. McGinty, you should try and let's say names here.
Roy Keane.
Yap Stam.
No. Not British. Not British.
Maldini.
No. Still European.
Would have to be, wouldn't it? Champions League.
He says that like Maldini's not European.
Yeah, but just in case you started going South American.
All right, I think I'm in the club.
A Dutch player.
My head's thinking defenders.
A Dutch player.
A Dutch player that's been sent off 4 times in these.
Edgar Davids.
Yeah.
Right. James has got 2 out of 3 already. So, any can guess for the third? Centre forward.
Ronaldo.
Zlatan.
Really? No.
Yeah, Edgar Davids, Zlatan, and Sergio Ramos both have got 4 red cards in the Champions League. Right, next question. Which French team shocked PSG to win Ligue 1 in 2020-2021?
Lille.
Right, both of you got it at the right time.
I bought the shirt because of that, so do I get the extra point? Because, I bought that.
Not really helping the fake Celtic podcast accusations to big into fuck's sake.
I wanted another football shirt. I wanted the French one, and PSG, as nice as they are, I thought, I want something that's a bit different but has meaning. And obviously, they won that league that season. I thought, well, there you go. Reason to have a red shirt in your collection.
I both want to get an answer from you, okay? How many English managers have won the Premier League?
0.
McGinty. Because they're all shite.
I mean, if we're playing by the rules, you said you wanted an answer for the Beatties, and I wasn't given a chance, so...
I phrased it wrongly. I said, you're right. Okay, so James, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. McGinty, you're on 5, okay? 7, 5. Okay, so quickest answer first. Which of these 4 clubs have never played in the English Premier League? Oldham, Barnsley, Plymouth, Blackpool.
Oldham.
Plymouth.
James. Oldham were in it in the inauguration season.
Exception.
Yeah. I like that question. When I saw it, I'm like, I'm having that. Right. Which Scottish player has scored the most goals in the English Premier League since its inception of 1992?
Okay. Oh. Fuck, what's his name?
Paul Dickov?
No, Kevin, what's his name?
Kevin Gallagher? No.
Aye, him. No, it wasn't him.
Darren Fletcher?
Stephen Fletcher.
Gary Taylor Fletcher?
Stuart Armstrong.
He spoiled it.
Go back.
No, can't think.
Who's the striker we had? No, I'm thinking Kevin Gallagher, I think so.
James McFadden?
He played in Scotland before he went down to England.
Kenny Miller?
James
McFadden?
Lee
Would I
Griffiths.
call it? No, I'm calling it.
Big Duncan Disorderly, man. I wouldn't have got that. It slipped my mind.
68 goals. Right, difficult one here. Only for the football historians. The first ever British player to play abroad.
Trevor Francis.
No, he's the first ever £1 million player.
£1 million player.
How far back is this going? I know that's a big hint, but...
Probably around the date where your father might have been born, roughly around that time.
Aye. That doesn't help.
Nah, I don't know.
Smell the glove, knows his football.
Yeah.
John Charles, 1957 for Juventus. I don't know if John Charles played for Tottenham at one point, or if I'm thinking of somebody else, but John Charles definitely played for Juve back in 1957. Okay, next question. Right. who's most confident to get this? How many teams did David Beckham play for apart from Man U? And can you name them?
5.
Oh, how did you get a fifth one?
James, sorry, McGinty, how many have you got?
I've got 4. I don't know where his fifth one's coming from.
Okay, McGinty, what's your 4?
AC Milan, PSG, Real Madrid, LA Galaxy.
Did I not say European clubs?
No.
Okay. Apologies. Okay, well, in that case, outside of Man U, he played for 5 clubs.
Who's the fifth one then, James?
Preston.
Oh, fuck, aye. Before Man U. Obviously.
Yeah. Okay, next question. This is the second last one, okay? I think this is number 20 out of 21. Which £80 million player broke the world record transfer fee for a defender in 2019?
Van Dijk?
Harry Maguire.
Maguire. Yeah.
And Maguire, yeah. And last question. True or false? Alisson Becker is the most expensive goalkeeper. I can't even read my writing. Yeah, Alisson Becker is the most expensive goalkeeper ever. True or false?
False.
That's correct.
False.
Kepa Arrizabalaga.
Kepa, I had that in my head. Chelsea.
Was he 125 or something stupid like that?
He was 71.6 million.
Was it only that? I thought he was over 100.
Yeah. So McGinty, you did look to Boys. It was like a difficult question, difficult quiz. I thought you did really well. You've got 6. James,
You've got
you've got more than 6. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's still a very, very respectable score. James is very good at these quizzes. So well done to both of you. Thank you for participating. I'll hand out your participation medals after the podcast. And Smell the Glove, he did obviously very well in that. Aye. So, right, okay, guys. Oh, right. One more thing before we talk about Celtic and Motherwell. Almost at the 2-hour point here right now. Maida January exit. We've already shown behaviour and letting our best players go in January. He wants to go. He missed the boat there. I don't know if Everton are in for him or Everton are rumour for another Celtic player, but guys, unless we're shitting the bed by January and we really, really need Maida, would you let him go if the money's right? Because I think by that point he's going to have 18 months left in his contract.
I heard that the rumour was like silly money for Maida was on offer, which makes it even more baffling that you wouldn't sell him. But then, knowing the fact that we hadn't replaced the 2 previous strikers that left, then we really would be absolutely fucking stupid to have sold him because there was no other strikers left at the club at that point. I think his values plummeted for a number of reasons, let alone his performances have been pretty poor this season. Not the only one, the whole squad obviously. But come with 18 months to go, I don't think you get much from him. But again, this board, the only credit you can give them is that they do magically get a good fucking deal for selling players. So, if we can get double figures for Maida in January, I think you do sell him. But we need to fucking replace him because right now...
Double figures? Would you take a tenner for Maida?
I would,
What do you think we would have got for Maida in the summer?
I generally heard that it's like 25 plus, going close to 30, but I don't know how strong that is as a rumour. I think that might be a bit too fanciful. But if we get offered 10 million for him in January, I think you have to take it. But he's playing literally 2 positions just now. He's covering for right wing and he's covering for up front when Ian Actual's needing replaced. He's practically irreplaceable, yet he's not actually playing very well, and that's just an indictment of how piss poor the squad is right now. You would sell him because of the contract situation. You would sell him because he wants out the club and he's served us very, very well and he deserves to get a move. But I just don't have faith that we replace it properly.
For Smell the Glove here, I really don't want Dyson to go out playing like this. He's given us so much. I don't know if that kind of reminds you of like a boxer who's had a brilliant career, but then he's playing on longer than what he should. He's fighting in the ring longer than what he should have, and he's taking losses against tomato cans and the likes, taxi drivers. I don't know if it's maybe that kind of analogy. Maida is still at a very good age, but it's just the time was right, Jennifer. James, the time is right.
I mean, I don't know if it's a haircut, but fucking hell.
It's my wife's name. Like we pride ourselves in being a selling club. You sell when the price is right, the time is right. We did Matt O'Reilly at the right time. But Maida, we missed the boat because we kind of shat the bed in our own recruitment preparations. It's really, really bad, but that's happened and now is now. So McGinty was talking about 25 million back in summer, but now selling him for 10. It's a massive, massive cut price deal. I don't even know if I'd be willing to sell him for 10 million if we've got 18 months left in his contract. But at that point, it kind of feels like you're holding him hostage. Mm-hmm. He's given us so much. He really has. I would feel guilty holding on to him, but it's still a contract is a contract. But then the players have more power sometimes in these modern days. I don't know, where do you stand in it? Like, I guess if we are trailing in the league by January, surely we kind of let him go. That'd be the worst decision ever.
I think you're spot on there, Tracy, but I just think that it was February is when we're meant to have known that he was leaving, or sorry, wanting to leave. So by the time we get to January, you're talking 11 months. We would have had to identify a replacement. There's big fucking Stacey back. You can watch it back later.
He doesn't even know what we're talking about.
Gav's coming round mine after the podcast. Totally. What was I saying? I can't even remember.
Talking about Maida.
I'm not even wearing my wedding ring tonight, Gav. Sorry. But no. February. So that's 11 months we'll have had to replace him. You'd like to think that's more than enough, but I think the Kyogo deal tells you not to take anything for granted there. As you say, look, again, it's another one. It's a direct failing at boardroom level. You've got a guy that doesn't want to be there. The whole point of the club's recruitment, is that we develop players and sell them on for a large fee, well, in comparison to the league, which we've done it. We've obviously seen it in the past. We didn't do that in the summer with guys that we should have done. We done it with Kuhn. We knew Kuhn was away, never replaced him. And then as a direct impact to that is because we didn't replace Kuhn, it then meant on deadline day we couldn't lose Maida as well because we didn't trust ourselves to get a replacement in. So look, the guy's brain will be scrambled. I mean, if he's had his locker unpacked, as McGregor said, packed up, as McGregor says, and he's basically out the door, and then to find out through absolutely no fault he's in that he's getting called back because people in the boardroom can't get a replacement for him. Your head would be scrambled, and I know it's all one saying he still get paid for Celtic and all the rest of it. It's fair enough. But there is a human element to it as well. He'll have been set on wherever he was due to go. Was it Brentford or whatever? He'll have been kind of eyeing that up, planning for the future and all the rest of it. And then he's back in. And look, he's a left winger that's basically at the moment playing everywhere other than left wing. I know he played through the middle last year and he was effective. He's not been effective at it this year. Fucking last night he was playing right wing back which probably tells us how good our recruitment has been. So, and I don't think, if I'm being totally honest, I don't think the comments surrounding how we found out about the thing, because there was always kind of murmurings in the background that Maida could go, but there was never really anything concrete. And then after the window shut, when your manager's coming out and saying, well, we actually knew for months he was wanting to leave, that on its own probably drops his value down before you even look at performances or however's long left on his contract. You're basically letting clubs know that he was gone, essentially. So I think we will sell him in January, and I think it's only fair to the player that we sell him in January after, you'd imagine, promises were made in the summer.
Any caveat on our league position at that point, or you think?
Well, it really depends, because I mean, if somebody came out in the row and said that Maida won't play on Sunday, with them, it's on current form, it's not a big miss. So if he gets back to form, then obviously it would be a miss. But
I guess we'll buy somebody. If he goes in January, we'll buy somebody in January to replace him. That's probably the plan.
Is that January 2027, 28?
But that's the thing, though, Gav. With that, we knew that Cowboy wanted to leave.
He's getting your name mixed up. His name's Tracy. I don't know if you keep calling him Gav. It's not his name.
McGinty, when you were away, I was talking to James and asked him a question. I called him Jennifer. And,
for fuck's sake. I can see the resemblance, Yeah. Yeah, what was the story? Cargo left in January last year. We seemingly knew the February before that he was hinting for a move or some stupid shit like that. We've known that Dyson pretty much wanted out the door probably at the same time that we actually did let Kyle go leave. So if we've let Kyle go in January, we knew that Dyson was wanting to leave last season at some point as well. Why did it take us, keep in mind how much money we have in bank and how much money we're bringing in from Punk sell-on fees, Kuhn 17 million and all the rest of it. Why did it take us until the second last day of the transfer window to suddenly think, Kasper Dolberg, that'll be an option for us to say? Why didn't we just go in for Dolberg in the middle of July? You knew that you had to replace Kyogo. You knew Dyson wanted out. We all knew Wright was on the wall for Adamida. Why did we not just go and just say, who was it, Anderlecht? How much is it for Kasper Dolberg? 6 million. Okay, here you go. And just get it done with. That would have been the sensible approach. And if they turned around and says, no, it's 10 million for Dolberg, or no, we're not selling him until after our qualifiers, which some clubs do say, some clubs don't give that much of a fuck about it. It's only Celtic that fucking play that card to the nth degree. But if Dolberg's not an option in July, go find another striker. Go find another one after that. Why wait until the second or third last day of the window to suddenly go chase Dolberg on, was it the Friday or Saturday, to have it leak on the Monday that actually doesn't he really want to come, and oh, by the way, he's away to Ajax now? Why? What was that entire fucking saga apart from fucking scrambling at the last minute and probably actually just throwing a name out into the media to make it look like we're doing something? That's a deal that should have been, as you said there, Gavin, do you let Maida go in January? Yeah, the caveat is that we've actually fucking prepared a replacement for him, but we've still not replaced the last two strikers that have left.
So does that mean that you don't let him go, even if he wants to go?
No, I say you let him go for the reasons laid out by James. There's a human element to this as well. He's already mentally checked out as well. We fucked him around, along with Yang. I think you have to let him go at this point. As a club, you can't keep... You'll be as professional as you can, but you can't keep a guy around for this long. He gets down to 12 months and he becomes almost financially worthless to us at that point. I think you have to sell him in January to get some sort of money back from him, which isn't much because was it $1.5 million we paid for him? So he's already paid that back and then some with his goals and his performances over the years. Mm-hmm. But if you want to grab some sort of money from him, you have to sell him in January.
Fair dues. Right, gentlemen. Last but not least, Celtic and Motherwell on Sunday. Line up. Okay, let's do a Let's. Oops. Let's hear who you play for Celtic against Motherwell on Sunday. Surely, look, I know that you can't. There's no reason that Brendan Rodgers is going to drop Casper.
Okay, before you go into that chat on the team for Motherwell, it was Jed, I think it was, brought out of the group chat earlier as well. At what point do we drop Casper Schmeichel in favour of Sinisalo? Is there a limit here?
He needs to make another big mistake.
But does it need to be soon, regular, quickly, or do you wait until February and he makes a howler and that's the time?
I think he's got such a reputation, a CV, and the personal relationship with Brendan Rodgers that for Brendan to drop Casper, assuming he's not injured, then he needs to make. Like Brendan wouldn't even admit that was a howler. The 35-yard goal that he conceded. You've still got a lot of people who are defending that. Me personally, I would say it's a goalkeeper's error. He needs to. There's no way that he's going to be dropped in the next game. I just can't see it. So as long as he's fit, he would have to have maybe 2 consecutive games with howlers. I don't know. That's my thinking.
I think he's close, but not there yet. I'll stand by what I've said throughout the summer. Yes, I want to see Sinisalo get more game time. I think we're probably doing the right thing, giving him the cup games, domestic cup games, obviously. But I think we need to be, as a club, and this is where Rodgers needs to be brave, and even Casper might have to admit it himself and maybe chap the manager's door and say, look, I'm losing it. I don't think we're there yet, but we need to see how he's getting on. We can't just go through the season with Casper there making mistake after mistake when it's clear that he's fallen off the cliff. I don't think he's there. I think he might be hovering near the cliff, but he's not fallen off it yet. I think
ironically, McGinty, I think his shot stopping on the whole, shot stopping is quite steady.
Yeah.
It's the distribution from the Braga game, which was really worrying. So if we're giving away possession every time Casper is looking out, scanning who he's got his options, if he's continually giving it away, then that has to be a factor. That'll be the biggest reason to drop him. But he needs to have a calamitous game against Motherwell for him to be dropped in the next game. So I think either way, Casper starts and goals. For me.
Yeah, no, I would agree. At this point, he does. I'm not ready to drop him in favour of Sinisalo, although I do believe Sinisalo should take over at some point. It's not now. You stick with him.
Right, okay. So, Guetta, thanks very much for sticking with us tonight. Enjoy your thing. Right, anyway, defence. Who be playing? Scales and CCV.
Scales, CCV. Aye. I would put Donovan at right back. I wouldn't put Ralston, and I would give Srirachi the left back starting position.
James. Donovan, CCV, Scales, and Srirachi. What do you think?
See, to be honest, for this game, it's probably one of the ones where there's a team that I'd play and a team that we probably will play. But I do think that he'll stick with Donovan because obviously with him getting 10 off at half time, I think if he's dropped for this game, it'll kind of dent his confidence, especially after him getting a rest the game prior to Braga. So I think that'll be the back line. Kind of similar applies to Tierney. He's played a kind of decent amount of football for Kieran Tierney standards at this point. And I think Srirachi deserves a start based on merit of what we've seen. So I'd go with that back line as well. And just on the Schmeichel thing, sorry. Sinisalo, I thought had a couple of shaky moments against Thistle as well, playing out for the back, to be honest. I'd be the same. I don't think I'm at the stage of dropping Schmeichel just yet, but I would agree that Sinisalo should get the same. If he's going to be the cup goalkeeper and your number one goalkeeper isn't covering himself in glory at the moment, it'd be so unfair to keep your number one goalkeeper because you've made it to Hampden. So I'd like to I'd like to stick with Schmeichel kind of in the league, but still see Sinisalo get the semi-final.
Can I ask you one thing? See, in terms of the left back position, Sirachi and Tierney, I think we're very used to Tierney bombing on, overlapping, and he's good at kind of creating that half yard to whip in across when he's in the final third. And he's done that this season, especially at Parkhead. But see, defensively, if we need to shore up and be solid defensively on that flank, who do you genuinely who do you have more faith in?
I don't really think we've seen enough Sirachi to get a kind of fair assessment of him. Defensively, you could probably say the same for Tierney, because we've not really had a proper backs to the wardrobe this season yet.
Apart from Ibrox when he get done by Gassama and that 1v1
watch. Aye, but look, as I said earlier, look, he's probably he definitely hasn't reached the heights that I think a lot is expected in terms of what we've seen him in his first spell. But at the same time, he's also not been horrendous. I think he's fallen short his own kind of standards, to be honest. But what I like about Sirachi is, and I think we kind of seen it again last night, he's got that kind of bit of urgency and drive. He was really one it seemed to be always shown for the ball and willing to drive into the space. And he hits the bar last week, he had a couple of crosses in. Technically, sometimes he might look a wee bit iffy, but I like the kind of the urgency and the drive about him. It's something that I feel we lack. So I'd stick with him for the time being, and then Tierney will probably get the last kind of 20 minutes, half an hour or something, no doubt.
I like the guy's early delivery. I think he's his left foot is very, very good for a cross. Right, okay. Midfield, that's probably the toughest one. Between the two of you, who would you play? All right, okay. So, right, Callum McGregor, he surely does start. Who do we think is going to play tomorrow?
I think he'll go in the midfield is McGregor, Hatate and Nygren. I think that the manager thinks that's his best midfield.
So that'll be the same as Thursday night, yeah? No, Bernardo played, didn't he? Bernardo played over Hatate. So Hatate over Bernardo, Cam Carter-Vickers and Nygren, yeah?
Callum McGregor. I think that is what he thinks is his best midfield. In my opinion, you could put any three midfielders in there and it wouldn't make much of a difference.
McGinty, so James thinks that tomorrow, Sunday, it'll be Nygren, Calmac and Rio.
I think that's probably what it will be. And back to what we were saying all night and previous weeks, it could be any of the three. Calmac doesn't get dropped. He's captain or rest it, so it is what it is. But Hatate, Nygren, yeah, it probably is what it's going to be.
Can I ask you guys genuinely? Okay, right. So we've been kind of playing that three for the majority of this season, and look, it's an easy thing to say, an easy observation. But the longer that you don't play in the starting 11, the more cries, the more pressure will be to play them. Like Bernardo, you know,
Yamada as well.
Engels, I don't know about Yamada. He's an unknown quantity, but well, he's a forward, isn't he, Yamada? Mm-hmm. But in the midfield, Bernardo, McCowan, I think you always know what you're going to get. A bit of industry, a bit of quality, but he lacks that physicality. Sometimes he can lose the ball quite easily in important positions when he's trying to do something positive, much like Hatate. But people who don't play for us regularly, like Bernardo and Engels, people say give Engels a shot, give Bernardo a shot, but whenever they do come in, they do not impress, but they get better the longer that they don't play for us. What do you think about that theory?
I think it's true. I think Bernardo is the prime example of it. There's been people championing Bernardo for the last few weeks, and as I said, like the signing, when Bernardo signed on a permanent, I was very much, if he does, he does. If he doesn't, move on. I just think I don't think he's any better or any worse than anybody that's there. Which is something, as I say, I get fed up saying it. I say it every kind of couple of weeks on here, but they are all exactly the same kind of style of player. And it hinders us massively. I think it's hindered us for a while. To be honest, even getting back into last season as well, I think think back to some of the games in Europe, where it hindered us. It's obviously massively hindering us now. They're just all too similar. And whether it's McKeown, whether it's Bernardo, I seen people saying that Bernardo was brilliant and man of the match last night and all that, and I think that's really just to kind of suit the narrative that he should have been playing. I don't really see it. I don't think he was bad, but I just think he was another one that it was kind of there, as the midfield kind of so often are, to be honest.
For Sligo, who's the boy in the attic? Well, both of us, James and myself, are both in attic rooms. So who knows? Right, okay. Nygren, Calmac, and Rio. Nygren has more goals than the other two. Rio is living off reputation. Calmac has got that shield, as the captain say. I think everybody likes McKeown, but just because he's honest and he does have a bit of quality and he is capable of maybe scoring a goal from like the 18-yard box. But in Engels, what is it like? James, earlier on you spoke about what genuine attributes do you bring to the table? When I look at Engels, see when people say, see the commentary when people say, oh, he's very good at set pieces. Is he fuck? Look at his success rate from corner kicks. Very, very, very bad. Free kicks, outside the box, free kicks. Celtic are bad in general. Engels hasn't bucked that trend.
I think that's just. Sorry, on you go. Sorry.
Penalties. Well, fucking give fucking the goalkeeper. You know the responsibility for penalties. He'll probably score the majority of them. Engels is not a set piece specialist. It is a myth. It's an absolute myth. In terms of what else does he do? What does Engels do? Okay, I was swayed at the start when we spent 11 million on him, and I looked at his age, and I thought, oh, we've plucked him out the Bundesliga because he's going to get better. But we want to be the club that progress him, and we'll sell him on for big bucks. He can't get a game for Belgium now. He can't get a game for Celtic now. What does he do? He doesn't have that guile. Like, he's honest, hard-working. But what player wants to be known as honest and hard-working? Like, that doesn't mean that you're good. That means, like, that's not a sympathy vote.
Aye, 100%. It's like saying he tries. He tries. Like, you try hard to just want, but if you're not good enough, you're not good enough. Though, see, just to touch on what you were saying about the set-piece thing, I honestly think that's just a Celtic thing in general. We tend to get these guys, and we hear about how good their delivery is, free kicks and all the rest of it. And it just, within a matter of weeks, it just kind of disintegrates. It's as if we train it out them. And it feels as if every season, I mean, we've got Nygren taking the corners now. It just kind of proves my point. It's always a new signing. Oh, fucking hell, man. The Bet365 are going to start taking bets on that, by the over 4.5 G-ups per half. But no, it's always a new signing, I find, that tend to take the corners. Like, who was the last kind of player that you were confident if we get a free kick? Exactly. Nakamura, but even
maybe Lee Griffiths.
Was going to say you're probably Lee Griffiths, Charlie Mulgrew, maybe on occasion he didn't do
Commons a little bit. He was,
but there hasn't. There's never really been anybody that's kind of consistent with it. And I just think that's a kind of Celtic thing in general. Engels last year, I thought I seen potential there. I thought he played some. I fucking hate the expression, but that kind of quarterback role, the kind of deep line playmaker firing the passes through the lines. I seen that on occasion last year. I'm not seeing anything like that this year. He has been awful this year. Now I've defended him probably more than most. But as I've fed up saying it, we need getting into the summer, we needed a number 10 and we needed a holding midfielder. We thought that Nygren was going to be the number 10, and he's no really. He looked good pre-season, gets his 2 goals against Livingston, and he's been kind of just the same as everybody else, just kind of average in it. Like, no horrendously poor, but just no great either. The same as everybody else basically in midfield.
He did well against Aberdeen at Pataudry. I think he got a goal and assist, but yeah, I think after that he's kind of flattered to deceive. I think he's got a good attitude, but I think he's just a typical signing that we've brought in, and we're hoping that he's going to be the quality that we need. And he was like, "Oh, the shining new signing. Let's put him in ahead of Engels." But on reflection, he's not all that much better than what we've got already. It's kind of negative to kind of finish the pod off tonight like that way. But so we've spoken about the midfield. We're still trying to kind of figure out the starting 11 for Motherwell on Sunday. So up front, so Iheanacho, yeah.
I think it'll be the same as last night. I don't think he'll change it. Maida
is a frustrating player enough as he is, but on the right wing, he ups his frustration levels because he's just not comfortable. He can't cut in on the inside. He's just, see, for a fullback, a streetwise fullback, it's just so easy to predict. Well, obviously he's got energy to burn. I think he's got more energy to burn than pace to burn. I don't think he's got Didier Agat levels of pace. But he was just more effective at utilising his pace through the middle. Even on the left wing, the amount of times he would run the ball out of play. It sounds like I'm going from night and day on Maida. Maida was like player of the season for us last year, player of the season in the league. But he's still a very, very hot and cold. He's a very, very unorthodox player. You know, like if I was a team who was spending 25 million on him, I would like to know his limitations, and I think we all know his strengths and his limitations, Maida. But yeah, Maida, Iheanacho, Tineke up front, in the middle, Kalmak, Rio, Nygren at the back, Sirache, Scales, CCV and Donovan, and Casper at the back as well. So I guess that's it. By the way, see, the one thing I like about Donovan is that, see, whenever we're doing that kind of horseshoe thing, and he's looking to the next person that he needs to pass to, but they're occupied with a marker. You know what Donovan will do? He'll force space. He'll run into space and force a reaction from the opposition, and he'll force someone to come out to him, and then he's able to pass into somebody who's just been free of his marker because they're having to force the pressure on Donovan. Donovan's good at that. Not even AJ is capable of that. Now, I know that Donovan is full of mistakes, but I just think that there's something about the boy's ability that I think he could actually be better than what we've got right now. But not right now, in the future. But right now, we need to kind of persevere, allow him to make his mistakes, give him more game time. But I would absolutely give him the starting berth over Anthony Ralston. But whenever AJ comes back, AJ will obviously supplant him out of superiority. But I think Donovan does have the potential to be better than what we've got right now. But I could be wrong.
I think he's better than Ralston, but I'm a fan of Tony Ralston.
Yeah,
but again, it just highlights the failings of the youth. It's something we've all said on here. You don't see a youth player at Celtic unless it's absolute needs must panic stations. And like you're saying, it's 2 right backs for Kobe Donovan to even get a sniff. And it's been that way for long enough.
Aye, and for Peel McLaughlin, the mood that the fans are in, it's going to be difficult for some of them to be accepted. And that kind of, I didn't even want to bring him up. He's the most forgettable man of the squad right now. But Balikwisha, like, what the fuck has happened with Balikwisha? We wanted to buy him a year ago, and I looked at his YouTube clips. I'm like, why? Why? Lewis Palmer looked far more impressive in his YouTube clips. I looked at Balikwisha and I'm like, you don't have pace, you don't have skill, you don't have power. What are you bringing to the table? I'm like, surely this is a sabotage job of whoever made this YouTube clip. Let me watch a few more. And I'm doing my homework and I'm like, fuck me, man. 5 million on this boy. And we wanted him for a year.
He looks to me like a winger that's got an absolutely crippling fear of the byline. In fact, it would have been right in front of you pretty much, Gav. Last week in the Hibs game, it was in injury time. He ended up winning a corner with it. It was right at the death, and he gets the ball wide, and the space is there for him to get through the byline and whip a cross in. And I swear to God, it's as if there's a 60-foot drop at after the byline. And he's literally leaning back, pushing into the defender, trying to go back the way. And there's two defenders beside him. And it's just like he kicks it like anywhere to get rid of it, and it deflects out for a corner. But it wasn't a split-second thing. It was like a conscious, holy fuck, I'm too close to the byline. I need to get back here. And it was just bizarre. It was so weird. It was, as I say, literally the space is there in front of him to go. And I don't know if there's like a full highlight anywhere, a full replay of the game, but it was just so strange to watch. Right at the death as well when you need a goal.
He's getting limited ability. He plays with fear, and probably even more important than that, he doesn't look like he's got the mentality to be a Celtic player. Oh, right. Right, guys, we're going to end it tonight on a really high note. Fucking hell. Right, okay, that's it. Okay, so I enjoyed the quiz. I really enjoyed the quiz. But apart from Celtic and Braga, we'd build the perfect Celtic. Jed had a few good mentions for that. I feel like Tommy Burns and Danny McGrain. We're going to let Maida go in January. Going back to the well continuously with the same players. Football was unattractive.
The manager needs sacked.
The last big victory was Young Boys of Bern.
Do we still have Hoopy the Huddle Hound? Does he still come out? Can we sack him? Is he available for sacking?
I wouldn't sack him. I'd play in the right wing position on. The stadium's crumbling down. The toilets in the stadium are shite. Anything else? Apart from that, we're good to go. What I will say though, to be fair, in terms of the Motherwell game, weirdly enough, if they come and play the way they've played so far this season, in terms of actually trying to play a bit of football, I think that will suit us a bit more because it will probably free up a bit of space further up the park. That being said though, I thought I said the same with Hibs last week. I thought they would have came and played or tried to play a bit of football, and they didn't. So, if they come and play a bit of football, we should at the very least be good for a 0-0 draw.
Fuck. Andy Halliday as well. Is he still playing for them? Yeah, Motherwell.
I don't think he's getting a game, but he's still there.
Well, he might get a game against us. Right, boys. Anyway, look, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. Well, it has been. I genuinely enjoy the podcast, even when. By the way, you get some podcasts for certain teams who, when things are going really, really badly, that's when they get the high views. But I don't think it is with Celtic podcasts or with us. Admittedly, we got our record views when we get put up by Kaira Almaty. But I generally prefer talking about Celtic when we're doing well. I hate talking about Celtic when things are on a negative. But we're still favourites for the league. You know what I mean? We'll still get the best team. We just need to, as Jed said, work fucking hard and motivate ourselves. Anyway, guys, any parting comments for tonight before we wrap up? We get Celtic on Sunday. We keep promising we're going to do a podcast on a Sunday morning, like that kind of Sunday supplement in the Sky Sports team whenever they had their croissants and the orange juice. Don't know if that's going to happen, but any parting comments, James, the Liverpool fan, on McGinty?
I like the phrase we only sing where we're winning. I think that's probably apt for some of the podcasts. Not us, not Celtic ones, I mean just generally. You get that feeling that some fans, some clubs only, get active in this stuff when it's positivity, or sometimes the opposite, they only get involved when it's something to shout and moan about. I just like the fact that we can come on and have a good blather for 2.5 going on 3 hours and talk shite, and yet all three of us, Jed included, 4 of us, I think we all had a good laugh, and it's been brilliant. Because at the end of the day, what else do we have to laugh about as Celtic fans?
Aye, it was the battle of the bedwetters tonight, wasn't it?
The guys will be proud of us.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, guys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for sticking on, and I'm sorry for taking you past your bedtime. Right. So from myself, McGinty, and Jennifer.
See you later, Tracy.
Can't believe you boosted my low line field to Van Field Road there. That's fucking disgraceful, by the way.